Welcome in, everybody, to the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day round about this time since 2021. That's right. We've been doing it a long time. Come to you today from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the glorious E-Gallery in the fabulous Dallas Design District here on Dragon Street. All right, there you go. I did everything. That's everything. We have breaking news right out of the box here in the chat room. All the good news comes from the chat room. It's Barney. Barney has breaking news. He wants to announce that he says, I've gathered you all here today to inform you that the actress who played Becky Slater was the little sister of the actress that played Winnie Cooper. Now enjoy the show. Now that's a way to first post in the chat room. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for. That could be trivia. Tuesday night trivia, 4060 Beltline Road, back 9, 7:30. I host trivia and we have fun. Okay, I have one question, though, for Barney. I need help with this. Barney, I don't know who Becky Slater is. Who's Becky Slater? I mean, I could Google it. That'd be easy. But, we're trying to do a thing here back and forth. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. What is this? It's talk radio for normal people. Normal people. If you don't like this show, you're not normal. That's the T-shirt. If you don't like the show, you're not normal. Talk for normal people. What do I mean by that? What I mean is we don't go nuts with crazy Q conspiracies. We don't do politics because no normal person is interested in talking to politics after the past 10 years. It's just not a thing. We talk about the world. We talk about, look, hey, we all live in a cul-de-sac. Let's just pretend that. We live in a cul-de-sac. And we're just talking about things that, we know we're going to have to live with each other for the next 20 years. And that's what this show is. I perform the show as a stream of consciousness. Well, that's just me. That's Barney. You can go. Bye, Barney. There he is. As I was saying, we perform the show. Me and the multiple influences inside my head. We perform it as a stream of consciousness, which means whatever I'm talking about is just whatever's next in my head. Whatever's on deck comes out. I don't filter. I don't govern. We don't take breaks. I don't have time to collect my thoughts. It's just me talking with you about the world every day. We're going on 4 years now. I perform the show in 4 segments. The first one, just a little something to get us going. It's called Antecedently on This Day. What's Antecedently on This Day? It's this day in history. I riff through some stuff from history. It's fun. You learn some things, and, I have some half-baked opinions on a lot of dumb shit, and that's what we do there. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Who's having a birthday today? Is it your birthday? It's Byron's birthday. We should all say happy birthday to Byron. There he is. He says, thanks for the birthday post, Pugs. I'm in Facebook jail and couldn't reply. It's Byron's birthday, Adam. Show some class. It's Byron's birthday. Byron, just because it's your birthday doesn't mean show some class. All right. Boy, Sinners had a big weekend. Sinners brings in $45 million in its second weekend. Everybody's watching the cost of the film Sinners because apparently it was very expensive to make and it upset Minecraft in its first week. And people were like, well, yeah, that's great, but it still needs to make, another 50 million. Well, it made 45 million in its second week. So I think it's going to be fine. I think they're going to make some money off that Sinners. Probably going to be a franchise. It's a horror movie. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I do know that it's by some director who I do kind of admire, but that's all I know. All right. Sinners. Quarter 3 birthdays. We talk about people who are having birthdays. Or quarter 2 is birthdays. People having birthdays. Quarter 3 is deads. People who died. Celebrities, notable quotables, historical figures. If they passed away on this day, we'll decide where they go, heaven or hell. It's quarter 3. Quarter 4 is everything else. Oh my God, when I say everything else, I mean like a couple of topics that I really want to get into. One, we really got to get into the whole Shedeur Sanders situation. Oh, don't be bored by it. It ain't sports. We ain't going to do sports nuts and bolts. I promise you. We're just going to talk about some of the things that young man went through over the weekend. And how do we feel about it now on Monday as the sun's come up? Are we happy? Because I had a lot of fun tearing that kid down all weekend. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. I woke up this morning going, what was it all for? What was it? So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the prank situation that he found himself in. Oh, the dude got pranked. The guy went through a whole bunch and, he brought a lot of it on himself. We're going to explore that as well. And we're going to talk about that awful sort of situation that is now sort of bloomed up behind the Shedeur Sanders falling, which is, the race conversation about this. Now, here's one thing that we as normal people do on this show. We do not shy away from the race conversation. We don't. Because it is our belief here that we are good people. That we're not going to hurt anybody. We don't want to put anybody in cages. We don't want to put anybody in camps. We're good people. We're decent people. So we can talk freely about the way we feel about things. And you know what? Maybe if we're wrong, because, everyone likes to hear a middle-aged white man talk about race issues. Maybe if we're wrong, maybe you can articulate why we're wrong. And maybe then I'll learn something. But don't be afraid of conversation. All right, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the whole Shedeur Sanders thing. But also, we're going to talk about this Virginia Giuffre. Virginia Giuffre. Remember, I don't even know. Am I saying it right? I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. This is that girl this is the Epstein girl, okay? This is the Epstein girl. This is the Prince Andrew girl. She's been in the headlines for about 10 years, right? Since she first brought those charges. Couple of weeks back, I was on here, doing a story about how she was Instagramming that she was, going to die because she'd been hit by a bus. Remember that? A couple of weeks ago. Well, she committed suicide over the weekend. She killed herself. The Jeffrey Epstein accuser, who got that big fat settlement from the royal family, who had kids. She killed herself. She was really looking at a third act, if she so chose, a third act in life, which could, have had her being this incredible advocate for this campaign that she started and that she was behind, which I think was called Speak Out and Report. I don't know, something like that, whatever it was, some organization. She was an advocate for sex trafficking and all that. She could write books. She killed herself. I mean, come on, man. So we're going to get into that. We're going to try and figure out exactly what that is. Because again, this is not a show that does the whole conspiracy theory thing. We don't. But we are going to look at that because, man, you got to have, your antenna must go up when you hear that this girl killed herself. So we're going to look at the facts and we're going to try and figure out what's going on there. Virginia Giuffre, we're going to talk about that to some extent today. All right. As we like to say on this show, we run on your gratuities and your tips. Well, folks, guess what? It is one of them awful pledge weeks. That's right. This is a pledge week. This is a week where I shake that tin can. Here's a tin can. Where I shake that tin can. I got to put something in there so it sounds like I got to put some change in there. Who the fuck has change? I don't have change. I don't have anywhere to change. Anyway, it's pledge week. So, I hate this part of the game, but we don't take advertising. I say that misleadingly. We don't take advertising. We don't have advertising. Let's be honest. We don't have advertising. There's not enough of you that enjoy this show every day for 3 years to really interest any advertiser, but you people like it and I like doing it for you people. So you've kept it alive. So it's that time of month again, pledge week. So help out the show if you can. We do not have an executive producer today, which is fine because I'm really hoping that we got a bunch of executive producers later in this week. All right, we'll get there. I'm not going to let it ruin it. I got a great week of shows for you. We got trivia tomorrow night at the back nine. If you can't tip the show, come out to trivia. Come on, support what we're trying to do here in some way. 4060 Beltline Road. It's trash trivia every Tuesday night with me and Brandon. I got a whole bunch of half questions. Today is the day typically where I put the rounds together, so I got to do that after the show today. Trash trivia. Join us tomorrow. The back nine. We have so much fun there. Every Tuesday night starts about 7:30. You get there earlier if you want, have a little something to eat. The food's surprisingly good. I say surprisingly good because I'm a food snob. I'm a bar food snob. I hang out at any bar, right? If the bar is good, the bar is good. But most of the good bars have bad food. I've not had anything bad. I haven't. I really enjoy the food at the back nine. It's pretty good. I don't know. I'm a food snob. I'm just telling you. It's good bar food. Come early, have a little something to eat. That's another way that you can support the show. So thank you. Talk radio for normal people. Normal people got to support this show. All right, where are we at now? A couple of things I wanted to talk about here. Let me see. How was your weekend? You guys have a good weekend? Waiting for a response. It doesn't work like that. There's a delay of 30 seconds. So anybody responding to that in the chat room. I had a good weekend. I came in here. I came in here to the Shock House, the Kelly Moore Studios at the Shock House. And I was trying to fit. We've got a whole bunch of new shows that we're going to be rolling out of here. Radio Misfits Dallas. The Shock House is just one. So I was doing some work here on Sunday, but I watched some things, guys. You know how I'm the TV guy, right? Like I hope that I have established at least some modicum of a reputation of being somebody who's not going to waste your time with bullshit TV suggestions. The stuff that I suggest to you, I hope you recognize that there is a level of goodness to them. So they may not be exactly your taste, and that's fine. But I'm not like recommending, dude, where's my car? The series that's on, the WB. No, that's not what we're doing. Is that even a series? I'm surprised it's not. I've been watching a show here that I haven't been speaking about. I believe that when it first debuted about a month and a half ago, I showed the trailer, and I think that was it. And I haven't mentioned it. But it's time that I mention it. I'm going to mention it here in a second, but I want to talk about two other shows very quickly first. The Gemstones. If you're not watching the Gemstones on Max, my God, if you thought Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers was one of the funniest concepts you've ever seen presented on a TV show, Baby Billy's follow-up show on the Gemstone Christian Network, his follow-up show is Teen Jesus, or as it's been shortened to, Teen Jizz. And Baby Billy, the executive producer and creator of the new hit Christian show, Teen Jizz. Baby Billy fired the actor who plays Teen Jizz, and Baby Billy, the 70-year-old man, has stepped into the role of Teen Jizz. The Gemstones, man. This is the last season, isn't it? Isn't the last season is going away, I think? Gemstones is just crushing it. They are just crushing it this season. All right, Righteous Gemstones on Max. That is something that you just can't miss. Another new show I wanted to mention really quick. I'm about 4 or 5 episodes in, and I'm into it, man. I really like it. Now, maybe it has something to do with the neighborhood I live in, or squat in. Let's be honest. I squat in a neighborhood. But I live in a very wealthy neighborhood, and there is a new show about a dude who lives in a very wealthy neighborhood and how he passes the time. It's on Apple. Stars John Hamm, and it's called Your Friends and Neighbors. Is it Friends and Neighbors or just Your Friends and Neighbors? Oh, God, is this show cool. John Hamm plays a banker or stockbroker or something, and he lives in this extremely wealthy neighborhood, and everybody's friends, and they all go to the club together, and they have these dinner parties, and everybody talks shit. It's the whole Desperate Housewives kind of situation, except that John Hamm loses his job, his big fancy Wall Street job, and he's got to keep up appearances. So he becomes a burglar, and he starts robbing all of his rich friends. He steals their like $500,000 watches, and he breaks into their house and walks away with their artwork. It's very good. It's very good. Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple. John Hamm playing a dude who's just like fucking over all of his rich friends. It's fun. Oh, it's a fantasy. Your Friends and Neighbors. It's on Apple. That's really good. But I do want to. I'm all caught up on this show. It's another new show. It's the show of the year. How many times have you said that, Pugs? Well, I think I've said it twice now. I think the show of the year. The first thing that I said was 1,000 Blows, which is still up there. That's an incredible. It's an English show made in England, so you got to watch it with the subtitles. But 1,000 Blows about the elephants, the something elephants, which was a street gang of women pickpockets in England. That is like an amazing, amazing show. 1,000 Blows. So I said that was the best show of the year. There's a better one. There's a better one. 1,000 Blows is no longer the show of the year. It's still a great show, and you should check it out if you have the time. But this new show is better. This new show is better than what's the other one that I liked from this year? Landman. That's right, Landman. Landman was the other one that I said could be show of the year. No. Here's your show of the year. And I'm all caught up on it. My son and I are religiously watching every episode. And maybe that has something to do with my enjoyment of it. That, it's something that my son and I are watching together on Paramount, which I access through Prime. I don't know how you guys get Paramount. But on Paramount, Mobland is I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. We're only 5 episodes in, and I'm like, oh, I've got my new Sopranos. I've got my new Peaky Blinders. I've got my new Succession. I've got my new show that is so good, I am willing to watch it weekly. That's right. Y'all know me. I prefer to binge. I prefer to let shows run their course and then watch the entire run all in one weekend. That's how I prefer. But there are certain shows that are so good that you got to watch them as soon as they post. Righteous Gemstones is one of those. I watched the latest Righteous Gemstones last night. But Mobland on Paramount is right there, man. If you guys are not watching Mobland, first of all, it's Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is like the greatest. I don't even know what else to say after I just say the greatest. Tom Hardy is the greatest. I love everything he does except for that Taboo show. Remember that show Taboo from a couple of years ago? That show sucked. That was horseshit. All right, so I allow Tom Hardy that. It's Tom Hardy, it's Pierce Brosnan, it's Helen Mirren, it's Patty Considine. It's about an English gangster family. It's like, well, what would the Sopranos be like if they lived in England, right? And it's Pierce Brosnan plays Conrad Harrington, who is the head of this shanty Irish gang that has been dominating London for years. He lives in a big manor home. Tom Hardy is his street boss. Tom Hardy is the knuckle breaker who goes around and makes sure that Conrad's rules are abided by. That's all I'm going to tell you. Helen Mirren is the wife of Conrad. Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren are married, and Helen Mirren is a Machiavellian. I can say it because it's an English show, and they say it a lot. Cunt. The way they say it in England. I didn't mean it in the American way. So American girls don't be like, I can't believe he said that. No, it's fine. I used it in the English way. Like I'm in Britain. But man, is Helen Mirren good in this. Woo! All right, there you go. So those are some shows I want to recommend to you. Friends and Neighbors and Mobland, I haven't really spoken about, but my God, those are both really enjoyable shows. And of course, if you're not watching the Gemstones, I don't even know if I want to know you. All right, let's get started. Welcome into the Rant. My name is Pugs Moran. These are the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios. I do this every day, round about noon since 2021. It's talk radio for normal people. Let's get started. It is the 118th day of the year, April 28th. April 28th is the 118th day of the year. There are 247 more of these remaining until the end of the year. Update on my Venmo card situation. You remember I was telling you last week my Venmo card was expiring, and I got a thing that said, we sent you a new card. And then I realized that it was to an old address. And then I frantically tried to contact Venmo, and there is no way. There is just like everything is an AI assistant. And those suck, especially when you have a very specific problem that you don't understand. The AI assistant is just going to run you in circles. It's not going to be good. So I was very angry at Venmo, so I fired off an email, and lo and behold, 4 days later, I got an actual human responding to my emails, and it appears my Venmo situation has been corrected. So thank you. Thank you. I know you were all losing sleep about whether or not my Venmo card was going to be active. Let's get started. It is the Rant, the first segment that we like to do here. We call it Antecedently on This Day. It's a look at all the events that have helped shape this industry insofar as, news and stuff. Hold on. I got way too many windows open, guys. I got to close some of these. All right, we're going to leave the trivia questions open. All right, let's get started. Antecedently on this day in 1788, Maryland becomes the 7th state to ratify the Constitution. Welcome to the party, Maryland. Maryland on this day in 1788. On this day in 1789, during the Mutiny on the Bounty incident, which I'll get into in a second, Lieutenant William Bligh and 18 sailors are set adrift, and the rebel crew returns to Tahiti before setting sail for Pitcairn Island. All right, 1789, Mutiny on the Bounty. This happens every year. Every year when we get to this little piece of history, I always stumble across it, and I always say this. I had no idea that was a real story. I had none. I'm very familiar with Mutiny on the Bounty. Hell, I'm even familiar with the Kane Mutiny, which was the Humphrey Bogart updated version of it that was made in the 1950s. I know this. I had no idea it was real. I just thought it was like Hemingway or some bullshit. Just thought it was some story. All right. As it turns out, folks, Mutiny on the Bounty is very much real. Antecedently on this day in 1869, Chinese and Irish laborers for the Central Pacific Railroad working on the first transcontinental railroad laid 10 miles of track in one day, a feat which has never been matched. Yes, as an Irishman, I am very proud of this feat. The Irish did nothing. This is Chinese and Irish laborers. You know where the Irish were on the railroads? The Irish were the bosses who beat the Chinese. That's who the Irish were. You know how the Irish got that gig? Because the Irish spoke English. And the Irish could speak to the bosses of the railroad. And when the Chinamen were working hard enough, it was the Irishman with his big club that would beat the hell. So come on. Let's not pretend like it was the Irish who did all this stuff. It was on this day in 1869. Chinese and Irish laborers laid more track over 10 miles in one day than ever before, a feat which had never been matched. All right, very good. Antecedently on this day in the year 1945, Benito Mussolini and his mistress, his Italian whore, Clara Petacci, are shot dead by Walter Audizio, a member of the Italian resistance. And they got Mussolini on this day, and his Italian whore on this day. Boom, boom. Screw you, Mussolini. On this day, antecedently in the year 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower resigns. I quit. I ain't doing it no more. He resigns as Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. Why? Well, he's going to run for president. There you go. Ike. I like Ike. I like Ike a lot. Antecedently on this day in 1967, during the Vietnam War, Muhammad Ali refuses his induction into the United States Army and is subsequently stripped of his championship and license. All right, let's look at this through the lens of today with all of the advantages of history passing and new ideas. And 1967, everybody's getting drafted. You're a regular ass working man. You work, I don't know. What kind of jobs did they do in 1965? Anyway, you're a working man. You're a ditch digger. I imagine that there were ditch digging jobs back then. You're a ditch digger. You got kids, you're trying to put them through college, and all of a sudden, one of them gets snatched up because he's an 18-year-old boy and he's sent off to Vietnam to fight. You don't want to do this. It happened. It's a draft. And then along comes Muhammad Ali. Oh, look at this guy, Rose, who, by the way, at this point is famous for being a mouth, being Deion Sanders. Think of him in that way. Think of him in the Kanye, 10, not Kanye now, like Kanye 15 years ago when he was just like, he'd say shit and people were like, oh, this fucking guy. So that was essentially who regular Americans thought Muhammad Ali was anyway. Oh, excuse me. I mean, white Americans. When I said regular Americans, that was wrong. Because he was beloved by, Black America and all that. But white America, they saw this guy say that I'm not going, I got nothing against the yellow man and all that kind of stuff. And I believe they were rightfully angry. I mean, I could imagine my kid being drafted and then this guy, because he's the champ, he says he's not going. And like I say, everything is just a construct. It's just, everything is a construct because as long as we go along with it, everything is a construct. But the minute you go, fuck this, the whole thing falls apart, like Muhammad Ali. So they strip him of his title. This is the other thing that I love. They strip him of basically nothing. Muhammad Ali was the heavyweight champion of the world, and every goddamn boxing fan in the world knew it. What? Because they did some paperwork that officially he was no longer. So that's part of the construct. He isn't the champ. Yeah, he is. We saw him beat the last guy. We know who the champ is. It's complicated. Anyway, it was on this day, Muhammad Ali refused to be inducted into the army. That was a big controversial thing. I mean, see, and again, I say, look at it from like the perspective of back then. Looking at it through the lens of today, where you're like, well, that was wrong. I mean, yeah, I agree. As a man in 2025, I think it was wrong. For the way he was treated for taking this stand that he said was on moral grounds and all that. We didn't want to hear from that. Well, our own kids were being shipped over. So as someone today, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe he had sort of a moral point, but we can't do that. We can't do that. We have to, if we're going to demonize the people from back then, we have to actually try and walk in their shoes and try and see it from the way that they saw it. And then hope that over time they would have evolved as new information became available to them, like in the mid 70s or whatever. I don't know. Let's keep going. On this day in the year 1973, antecedently, The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, recorded in Abbey Road Studios, goes to #1 on the U.S. Billboard chart, beginning a record-breaking 741-week chart run. So that means it doesn't chart anymore. Like, when did it stop? Like, okay, that would make more sense for me because my brain doesn't work that way. So if it went to number one on 1973 and stayed on the Billboard charts longer than any other album, what year did it go away? Just tell me what year. Now I got to do math. So there's 52 weeks in a year. It had a 741 week run. Okay, chat room, that sounds like a you thing. Someone in the chat room want to tell me how many weeks until Dark Side of the Moon fell off the Billboard charts. Antecedently, or years, antecedently on this day in 1986, high levels of radiation resulting from the Chernobyl disaster are detected at the Forsmark nuclear plant in Sweden. It's how the cat got out of the bag. Russia wasn't going to say nothing. Soviet Union, they weren't going to say nothing about Chernobyl, but there was another nuclear plant, like, in Sweden. And then the radiation from Chernobyl kind of drifted into their little monitoring area. And they're like, we got radiation. And once they realized it wasn't from them, they figured out, oh, Chernobyl. And that's how the world learned. The Soviets weren't going to let anybody know. They could have gotten away with that. They'd have gotten away with that. Antecedently on this day in 1988 near Maui, Hawaii, flight attendant Clarabelle C.B. Lansing is blown out of an Aloha Airlines flight 243. This is the stewardess that got sucked out the plane. Remember this horrible story? Oh, my God. They're just flying. They're flying to Hawaii. And all of a sudden, a hole rips in the side of the plane, and there goes the stewardess. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. On this day in 2004, antecedently, CBS News releases evidence of the Abu Ghraib torture and prisoner abuse. The photographs show rape and abuse from the American troops over Iraqi detainees. Remember those pictures, those crazy pictures? What was that chick's name? Remember the girl who we picked one? Americans, there was a whole shit ton of them. Yeah, we can't process that. Man, we picked one. We picked one chick. She looked like she was lesbian. It was like, yeah, let's all be mean to her. What was her name? She was the one with the cigarette hanging out of her mouth, and she like had a dude standing on a box. I don't know. We killed her, and then we moved on. And that's how we do. We killed her. Lindsay, what's her name? Hold on, wait a second. There's got to be a link here, right? We got to be able to find the name. Hold on. Does the chat room know the name? I remember Sybil. I think Sybil, Sybil, my old producer, who's now doing mornings on, I don't know, some AM station. I'm sorry. I should know this. I love her, but I can't listen to the AM talk radio in the morning. Sybil went for Halloween, I think, one year as this girl. I can't remember her name. Hold on. Let's find out. Who was her name? Who got blamed? Does it say repercussions, prisoner abuse? Yeah, Lindy England. Remember her? Oh yeah, private first class Lindy England. Here's the one we blamed. A whole bunch of people did it, and it was all the idea of superiors, or at least they condoned it. Yeah, remember this chick? Remember this chinless poor lady? Look at her, no chin. Look at her, no chin. She's all jowls. Oh yeah, we went to town on her. She was unattractive. Her sexuality was ambiguous, and she had no chin. Oh, the American public, even before social media, went nuts on this chick. Lindsay England. There you go. You gotta have a chin. She doesn't have a chin. I think that's a big thing. That's why I grow my beard this way. Seriously. Because I am petrified that I don't have a chin. Now, I've been assured by people that I have a fine chin, even when I'm shaving it. But just because I think that I got a fat face and I don't have enough of a chin, I grow it a little bit heavier here just because I need a little bit more distance. That's right. That's who I am. How about you? All right, let's keep going. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys. That's all as far as the first segment go. Let's move into birthdays. Let's talk about people who are having birthdays on this day. Let's decide if we like them or not. Here we go. Born on this day in 1960. This guy can go kick rocks. 1960, Ferruccio Lamborghini. Lamborghini is such a stupid car. First of all, it's such a douchebag car. It's such an unsophisticated. It's the first car that an unsophisticated ass who finds money goes and buys. It's such a garbage car. I knew a rich guy who had a Lamborghini, and he was just all about his Lamborghini. And his Lamborghini was always in the shop. They are not only absurdly expensive, not nearly as cool looking as any number of other cars. All Lamborghinis look like they're a 20-year-old supercar. They don't have any sort. I know. There's a Lamborghini SUV. for complete retards. Really? You're getting a Lamborghini SUV. I couldn't handle the people who bought Porsche SUVs, but now there's a Lamborghini SUV. Screw you. Born on this day in 1916. Ferruccio Lamborghini, the man who started all this nonsense. Born on this day in 1930. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Okay. Birthday fun. Let's do a Kiss, Marry, Kick. I don't know. Are you guys getting tired of this? I kind of like these segments, Kiss, Marry, Kick. It's my version of Fuck, Marry, Kill. I find that to be vulgar, and I don't need to put that out in the universe. So we do Kiss, Marry, Kick. I'm going to make out hard with one of these chicks. We're going to hook up. It's going to be a one-night stand. We're going to do things. You know what I mean? I don't need to be more vulgar. That's what Kiss represents. I'm going to hook up, one-night stand. Next one, Marry. You know what that is. Marry. And then Kick, right? I'm not killing anybody. I'm just going to kick him to the curb. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, darling. I'm sure there's someone in this world for you, but it isn't me. So they're going away. There you go. Let's play Kiss, Marry, Kick. All right. First Kiss, Marry, Kick is an actress. These are almost always actresses. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like it would. Look, it's Elena Kagan's birthday today. Supreme Court Justice. She was almost one of the people here in the Kiss, Marry, Kick. No, this one, though. This is our first Kiss, Marry, Kick is going to be Carolyn Jones, the actress Carolyn Jones, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. Get a look at her. That's Carolyn Jones. Now, we Gen Xers, we know her. She was Morticia, right? Morticia Addams in the Addams Family. Wait, was she Morticia Addams or Lily Munster? I don't know. I can't tell. I can't tell if she was more. Who is that? That's Morticia Addams. Okay. And that is important because I do remember as a child thinking that Morticia Addams was way hotter than Lillian Munster. So, okay. So there you have it. Morticia Addams inspired goth chicks for generations. All right. She is important. And it's Morticia Addams and Winona Ryder from the original Beetlejuice. That's every goth chick that has ever come out of her bedroom to go out in public and you see at Walmart with her family on a Saturday. Every goth chick has some basis in Morticia Addams or Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice. There you go. And some Robert Smith from The Cure mixed in there. There's also some of that. All right, there you have it. That's our first one. Born on this day. What year was she born? Born on this day in 1930. The lovely Carolyn Jones. She's our first contestant in Kiss, Marry, Kick. All right, here we go now. Here's our second one. This is why this is going to be a hard one. We're going to have to find out some truths about ourselves. Here's a hard one. Born on this day, year of our Lord, 1941. One of the all-time baddies. Anne Margaret, ladies and gentlemen. Anne Margaret. This is why I say this is going to be a hard one. All right. We got Anne Margaret. We got Morticia Addams. We're playing Kiss, Marry, Kick. They're all having birthdays today. Oh my God. Anne Margaret is incredible. Anne Margaret is like something. She is just, oh, look at that. Oh my God. All-time baddie. Anne Margaret. Right? All right, she's great. But there's a problem with Anne Margaret. Anne Margaret is demonstrably nuts. She's like out of her mind. Like she's a little much. Like, yes, she's all that. Like you see her, you walk in a bar and you see Anne Margaret and you're like, oh my God, she is that. And then you like start hanging out with her and you're like, oh, this chick's weird. This chick is a little bit too. Let me give you an example of what I think might be a deal breaker for Anne Margaret, regardless of how beautiful she is. Now Anne Margaret, I think this comes from 1975. Okay. So this comes from 1975. It is two commercials. I'm trying to bullshit through commercials before I share this. YouTube gave me two commercials. Hold on. All right. So this is why no matter how hot she might be, This is why Anne Margaret might be a deal breaker. This is from the Tonight Show in 1975. She's all coked up. She is. I'm not going to bore you with the entire interview. She's like sexy grandma doing some real, she has zero self-awareness. This is the weirdest thing. And I don't care how hot Anne Margaret was. Anyone capable of doing this has some real issues.
All righty.
Got them right here.
All right. Here she goes. Goes coked up grandma on the Tonight Show.
Ain't got no trouble in my life. No foolish string to make me cry. I'm never fighting, don't worry. I know I always get by. I hate her.
Oh my God. I don't know what that is, but that is just the weirdest fucking thing. All right, so there you have it. Born on this day, our second contestant in the Kiss, Marry, Kick for today, Carolyn Jones. Morticia Addams was number one, born on this day in 1930. That's Anne Margaret. She was born on this day in 1941. God, she's one of the all-time baddies. But I'm telling you, I think that she's a little, I think we got a problem. All right, let's try this one now. Born, oh, geez. Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. This is our last one. Born on this day, year of our Lord, 1948. There you go. So this is the baby of the group. Our choices are for Kiss, Marry, Kick, Carolyn Jones, Morticia Addams, Anne Margaret, born on this day in 1941. And this one here, hold on, let me show you a picture here. This one here, certainly not as famous as any of the others. Yeah, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Marcia Strassman. Talked about her on Facebook yesterday. She is, of course, Julie Cotter from Welcome Back Cotter, born on this day. Kiss, marry, kick. One of these chicks we got to marry. One of these chicks we got to kick to the curb and never see again. And the other one we're going to hook up with. All right, so here's what we're doing. Look at her. There she is. Oh, man. As I said on Facebook and on Twitter yesterday, Marcia Strassman, Julie Cotter. There was never a cooler lady in sitcoms. There was never a cooler wife. She's just awesome. She put up with nonsense. Look at Vinny. Vinny always hanging out there. She thinks she wants some hot 17-year-old strutting around in tight pants. She was a cool baddie. Marcia Strassman, Julie Cotter. All right, here we go. It's time for us to decide. One of these women, Carolyn Jones, a.k.a. Morticia Addams, Anne Margaret, or Marcia Strassman, a.k.a. Julie Cotter from Welcome Back Cotter. One of these women are going to be made out with hard in a crazy one-night stand. One of these women are going to be married and I'm going to stay the rest of my life with them because they're awesome. And the other one's going to get kicked to the curb, right? This one ain't that hard. Bye, Carolyn. All right, Carolyn Jones, Morticia Addams. She needs to get the hell out of here. She can go. I am absolutely hooking up with Anne Margaret. One night? I could put up with that nonsense for one night. Are you kidding me? I'll dine out forever with stories of the one night I hooked up with a crazy, coked up Anne Margaret. Hell yeah. Oh, she was nuts. Pass the steak sauce. And of course, I'm going to marry Julie Cotter. I've wanted to marry Julie Cotter since 1977. There you go. That's going to do it for this birthday's edition of Kiss, Marry, Kick. All right, let's get back into it. I wanted to, it's Elena Kagan's birthday too. There you go. Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan. I want to make sure we get her birthday in there. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1937. Happy birthday. No, not a happy birthday. But what else are you supposed to say? Here's what you say. This fucking monster was born on this day. Saddam Hussein. You could say the same thing for this guy, born on this day in 1950, Jay Leno. Born on this day in 1969, my buddy Mike Jahara. He died this year. He was my buddy. Yeah, I've been thinking the last couple of weeks, man. I've been thinking a lot about Mike. It's his birthday today. I know this because I got an alarm. I've got like a group of friends who I have their birthdays in my phone. I get a little alarm. He's one of them. He died last year. He died last summer. This is just what happens when you get to a certain age, right? Your friends die. I'm thinking a lot about Kelly too lately. Just like, God damn, I just can't believe that I exist in a world where these people aren't here anymore, you know? And where these people where I can't tell you how many times. Do you know how much Kelly and I would have texted about Love on the Spectrum, the autism show? We would have totally, and I know this because she was into it. She was into it, and she used to send me stuff. You got to see this. You got to see this. And I would never watch. I was like, yeah, whatever, crazy Kelly, you know. And then I discover it organically, and now I have nobody to text about it with. Draft weekend. Draft weekend. I would have been furiously texting back and forth with my friend Mike, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Mike. Born on this day in 1969. Born on this day in 1971. Oh, wait a second. Can we do this again? Do we dare do this again? Let's do it again! Oh my God! We have never done this. We've got another Kiss, Marry, Kick, a naturally occurring Kiss, Marry, Kick. We got someone born in 1971, someone born in 1974, and someone born in 1981. Let's do Kiss, Marry, Kick, part 2. First, born on this day in 1971. Is this one going to be hard? This one's going to be hard because I'm going to have to kick somebody. And wait till you hear these names. All right, born on this day in 1971. This is our first candidate for Kiss, Marry, Kick. How about the beautiful Bridget Moynihan? Bridget Moynihan. Oh, this is a fantastic woman. This is the woman that Tom Brady dumped for Brigitte. Well, who is he with? Who is it? What was the chick? The South American fashion model, whatever her name is. Weird name, not Brigitte Nielsen. Anyway, this is the my God. Could you imagine breaking up with this? Tom Brady broke up with Bridget Moynihan, got her pregnant, knocked her up, and then went, you know what? Gisele Bündchen, that's her name. Gisele Bündchen is now, look at her. My God, Bridget Moynihan, that is a baddie. Born on this day in 1971. All right, let's go with our second contestant here in round 2 of Kiss, Marry, Kick. Born on this day in 1974. How about Penelope Cruz, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, wait. That didn't share, did it? Nope. Penelope Cruz didn't share. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, born on this day. Here we go. Penelope Cruz. Is she a Spanish actress or is she a Mexican actress? They make a distinction, don't they? Like, I think I think I've seen this before. Like, Salma Hayek is Mexican, right? Because they're the reason is they're friends, and I seem to remember them like going back and forth about, no, I'm Spanish, no, you're Mexican, no, I'm Spanish, or whatever it is. Anyway, here she is, Penelope Cruz. She doesn't speak English. You know, that's going to be frustrating. I mean, look at her. I mean, you know, she's Penelope Cruz. Can I be honest about Penelope Cruz? I think she looks like a bird. She's got bird-like tendencies. All right, but she's beautiful, right? So there you have it. Our contestant number 2, born on this day, Penelope Cruz, born on this day in 1974. Okay, happy birthday to her. First one, Bridget Moynihan. Are we going to kiss, marry, or kick her to the curb? Second one, Penelope Cruz, 1974. Are we going to kiss, marry, or kick her to the curb? Here we go. Now, this one's going to complicate things because I know there's a lot of guys who think this one. Well, it does complicate things, though. All right, here's what we're going to do. Are you ready? Born on this day in the year 1981. Oh, I need a producer so bad. I can't be doing this. I can't be doing this on the fly and make it seem flawless. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Alba, born on this day in 1981. We all have very strong feelings about Jessica Alba. I do as well. She's just darling. Look at her. Look, who's that? I don't know. Jessica Alba. There you go. Born on this day in 1971. All right. Or 1981. Sorry. Bridget Moynihan, 1971. Penelope Cruz, 1974. I lost my flag. You know I love my flag. I just consider it. It's Bridget Moynihan, Penelope Cruz, and Jessica Alba. We gotta make out hard and hook up one night with one. We gotta kick the other to the curb and never see him again. The other one we're gonna marry. All right, there you go. Consider that while I'll be considering it as well. There we go. Very good. All right, here's how we're doing this one. Are you ready? Okay. We are going to, I'm sorry, she looks like a bird, and we're going to kick Penelope Cruz. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Penelope. And now it comes down to who are we going to marry? Bridget Moynihan, and who are we going to hook up with? Jessica Alba. We're going to do it in that order. We're going to hook up one night with Jessica Alba, and we're going to marry Bridget Moynihan. My God. Look at that. I'm marrying the oldest one. How about that? All right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for Kiss, Marry, Kick. Are we done with birthdays? Or is that it? There seems to be a lot more birthdays than usual, huh? But then again, I'm doing the Kiss, Marry, Kick thing. Yeah, that's going to do it. All right, let's move on. Quarter 3. These are the deads. These are people who've died on this day, people who've died. We're going to decide where did they go, heaven or hell. Let's see. Dead on this day, Mussolini. Well, fuck him. He's going to hell. He died in 1945. We covered that in the big news stories. All right, how about born on this day, or dead on this day in 1993, Jimmy V, Jim Valvano. He's going to heaven. Jim Valvano, basketball coach. I know. Pugs, you say you have these rules. Certain people go immediately to hell. Actresses, Pugs. You're like, if it's an actress, she's going to hell unless she can demonstrate that she was more than just a stupid actress. See Audrey Hepburn as an example of that. Maybe even Shirley Temple Black. Point is this. I don't know what the point is. Point is, Jim Valvano was a coach, and I typically say that all coaches at the highest levels go to hell with a few exceptions. That's typically reserved for football coaches, although Bobby Knight, you know, a lot of asshole basketball coaches as well. Jimmy V is not one of them. Jimmy V died of cancer. Jimmy V got up and made a speech at the Jimmy V. Just anybody who see, look, I am old enough to remember Jimmy V before he had cancer. And he was an electric coaching personality. He was everybody's favorite coach. And then all of a sudden he gets cancer and we watch him die. And he makes this speech that has inspired people for decades. Jimmy V, Jim Valvano, he's going to hell. Haven't. Dead on this day in 93. Dead on this day in 2006, Steve Howe, American baseball player. Steve Howe was a very talented baseball player who just loved cocaine. Loved cocaine, loved drugs. Steve Howe was banned for life from baseball in 1994, I think it was. And then he died in 2000. Just a waste of talent. Starting pitcher, incredible. Suspended, drugs, high, more drugs, suspended, jail, suspended, banned for life. Steve Howe, I think, was the first Major League Baseball player banned for life for drug problems. Steve Howe. Steve Howe would die in a car accident on this day in 2006. Isn't that weird? Somebody like that would die in a car accident. You're like, geez, I would expect him to OD. Not die in the way that I could die. Well, he died in a car accident while completely blitzed on meth. So he died exactly the way people thought he would. Steve Howe, he's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2007, we'll put him in heaven because he seemed like a nice guy, even though he was kind of a vulture. Right? He was always there just waiting for, like, you know, Doc Severinsen to get sick. Tommy Newsom was the backup band leader on the Tonight Show. Whenever Doc had some previous engagement or, you know, something like that, it was always Tommy Newsom leading the band. Tommy Newsom, putting him in heaven. Kind of looked like Tim Conway. Like, I was a little kid. Tim Conway and Tommy Newsom to me were like the same dude. Dead on this day in 2019, incredible filmmaker. I don't know what kind of a dude he was, but he's a director. So I'm probably going to end up putting him in hell because he's a director. And I think most directors probably deserve to be in hell, if we're being honest. If I'm putting actresses, as reprehensible as I think actresses are in real life, directors are even worse. So against my better judgment, dead on this day in 2019, I'm going to have to put John Singleton in hell. John Singleton. This one bothered me because he died in the middle. He had created one of the great TV shows of the past 10 years, a show on FX called Snowfall. Have you guys ever seen Snowfall? It's been gone for a couple of years. Snowfall is the story of the crack epidemic in South Central Los Angeles and how it made all these gangbangers like millionaires and stuff. And it just had the crime and the CIA's involvement and the Contras and the war in Central. It's an incredible show. And John Singleton was the executive producer and creator of that show, and he dropped dead of a heart attack. I mean, Boys in the Hood, right? That was his movie. What else did he make? A lot of movies. John Singleton was a terrific director. He made really interesting films, and he dropped dead, but he's a director. So Think he's got to go to hell. All right, and on this last one, here we go. Done on this day in 2021. I like to make sure that we do this properly. I'm sweaty. Can you see the sweat? Dead on this day and absolutely going to heaven because that's the only place he's comfortable. Astronaut Michael Collins. Michael freaking Collins, y'all. Oh, you don't know. Who's he? Who's he again? Who's he again? Michael Collins is one of the 3 most important astronauts in the history of the world. Why is that, Pugs? Michael Collins is the guy on Apollo 11 who wasn't named Buzz or Neil. Michael was the one who had to stay in the ship while Buzz and Neil went down as the first men, the first human beings to set foot on another celestial body. It was Michael Collins who had to sit in the tin can and float and wait for them to be done and make sure that they had to lift home. Doesn't lessen who this man was. He's one of the greats. Michael Collins, going to heaven. There you have it. That's it, folks. We're done. That's all the things we're going to do here as far as the first 3 segments. Now it's all about the stuff we want to talk about. Now it's all about the stuff that's happening today. One more time, I would like to mention that it is Pledge Week around these parts. We do need your support. If you can help this show out, we're trying to make $50 per show, $50 per show. If you can help us out, that would be great. You can see it ticking down there below. Big tipper of today's show will be the executive producer of tomorrow's show. That's how we do the executive producer thing. And let me tell you, there's no greater honor than being the executive producer during Pledge Week. So help us. Thank you, folks. All right. Let's get into all the other things that are happening. Okay. This is, what are we going to get into first? We'll run through. Excuse me. Oh, no. Yeah. I want to mention this too. That's right. Tomorrow it's trivia night. Trivia. We do trivia at the back 9, 4060 Beltline Road. Starts at 7:30. Come one, come all. If you can't help out the show with a little bit of something dropped in our Venmo or our tip jar or our Cash App, you can come out. You can play a little trivia with us. That's also another way that you can help support the show. And we do appreciate all of the different people who have over these first 5 weeks of trivia. Come tomorrow. 7:30, 4060 Beltline Road there in Addison. All right, let's get into what we like to call talk radio for normal Americans. These are the things that are happening today. Let's see what we got. Okay, let's start out. We'll run through some stuff that we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on because there are a couple of subjects that I really want to get into today. First and foremost, it looks like Russia announces a unilateral 3-day ceasefire. Okay. And they call on Ukraine to do the same. All right. Quickly, we don't spend a lot of time on this stuff. The Trump administration, remember, they started out originally. It was Russia wants a peace deal, but Ukraine doesn't. And Ukraine is acting like assholes and all of that. And everybody, the critics, myself included, were like, dude, you can't trust Russia. You can't trust Russia. And so Russia has been stringing this administration along. And now we're at the point where Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, went on some of the news shows yesterday and said that, you know what, we're going to have to evaluate in the next couple of days what role we think we should serve here in the peace deal and whether or not we should be involved at all. So right now it is looking like the Trump administration, they're at least signaling, because that's what these Sunday morning shows are. They're signals to the rest of the world. They're signaling that, hey, man, we're going to walk away from this whole thing and let you guys figure it out. Okay, that's not good, but it is what is being said. So today, and this is really funny, today Russia announces that they will be conducting a unilateral 3-day ceasefire, and they call for Ukraine to do the same. The Russians are heading into Victory Day week. Victory Day week is kind of like our 4th of July. Okay, Victory Day week in Russia celebrates the victory over the Nazis in World War II. It's a very big deal there. The reason the Russians are calling for a unilateral ceasefire is because he doesn't want, or Putin, they don't want their public to be inconvenienced on their big holiday weekend. All right, so this is all self-serving. And now it's in a position where they're not going to be fighting. So there's going to be a lull in the action from the Russians, which would be a time when the Ukraine would be like, go, fire now. But Putin has set the stage now where it looks like Ukraine doesn't want a peace deal. If they react to Russia not being the aggressor, because Russia has been the aggressor the last 2 weeks, like fucking crazy, man. They're using North Korean missiles. I mean, that cat's out of the bag. It was always, there's only a couple North Korean troops and there is absolutely no North Korean hardware being, well, they're using North Korean missiles. So shit's getting out of hand. And now Putin wants his people to feel safe and to have a breather. It just, for the last month, they've been pounding the fuck out of Ukraine. They want a breather. They want to enjoy their 4th of July weekend. And so now they're pretending like they're the ones who want peace. This is just such fucking Soviet bullshit. It's all a mind fuck. Anyway, that's what's happening. All right, moving on. In other places in Europe, they're in the dark. There's like a big power outage. Power outages in Spain, France, Italy. Let me see what the latest is on that, because they don't believe it's terrorism. As a matter of fact, I was reading something that they were saying that it's like some anomaly, some celestial sun fart anomaly having to do with whatever, right? I don't know what any of that means. But let's see what they're saying. Lights out Spain, Portugal, Madrid brought to halt. Cause is a mystery. Okay, this one's saying that the cause is a mystery. Let's see what they think this might be due to. It says here, okay, I hate news stories. I hate news stories that start out with 67-year-old pensioner Ferdinand Despazio has difficulty moving around. He's been a servant of the state for the past 40 years, and now in his retirement, he relies on... Fucking tell me the news story! Stop trying to make some poetic fucking epic about why the lights are out in Spain, okay? Bad journalism designed to hoodwink stupid people. Anyway, that's me. I don't know why the power's out. Who cares? We don't live there. Power's out. Deal with it. Hey, at least it happened this time of the year, right? It's not August. Or wait, is it their August? Right? What part of they're in the Western Hemisphere, right? So they're still in I'm moving on. All right, let's move on. Stocks. Let's check on stocks. Let's see what the stocks are doing. We've been doing this lately. Just seeing, because the world's falling apart because of the stock market. Everybody's freaking out. All right, it's currently down. It's down 57. That's nothing. That's fine. It's down 57 with 2 hours left. We could have an up day. Probably not gonna be a great up day. We could have an up day. It's only down 57. All right, there you go. Stock market. That's nonsense. Let's get through that. What else do we have? Oh, the Pope. Pope was buried over the weekend. Yeah, I wanted to mention this too, because I wanted to show you something. So the Pope got buried over the weekend. I don't know if you saw any of that. I saw it all. I was watching it all. I like that kind of stuff, the historical pomp. I'm always down for an overblown wedding or the death of a famous statesman or something. I like to see who's there. I like to see how they're treated. So the Pope thing was that. But I'm gonna tell you some Pope facts, okay? It's a lot of what is he just? Is he just an evil man because he's Pope? Is that how reductive and oversimplified you people see the world? He's the Pope, and the Pope is the beast of the devil. And there's a lot of people saying this fucking shit. Is it a Catholic thing? I don't know. I mean, I'd always heard growing up that Catholics were just as disliked as Jews and Muslims and all of that in other parts of the country, but I had only been raised around Catholics. The entire city of Chicago is nothing but Catholics, whether they're Italian or European or Irish, whatever. So it was only when I came to the South that I realized that, oh my God, there are people who are just going to fucking hate me because they heard that I'm Catholic. Anyway, it wasn't something I was used to growing up. Anyway, but yeah, so Catholic people fucking hate Catholics. We're like a cult and we're evil. And, thanks Da Vinci Code. Apparently that did a lot of damage to our reputation. And I'm not even faithfully Catholic because I don't believe in that whole thing. I always say, I'm searching for my faith. I don't know. There might be something. Here's what I do know. I don't know. That's what I know. Thank you. That's how I would explain it. So as far as that stuff, life, I think, is about trying to figure out all this stuff, learning new things and be like, oh, that makes sense. Anyway, where I am right now is I'm not signing on the dotted line of any fucking religion. Not going into any church. I'm not going to tithe anybody for any words of grace. None of that bullshit. What I am, and this is a lot of the times how I describe it, what I am is a Jesuit. And I make a big distinction between what I see as a Jesuit and what I see as a Christian. Okay? Christians, I don't even want to deal with them. I'm sorry. I just think that the whole corporate industrialization of Christianity is designed now to spoon feed thoughtless people into an angry, outraged mob. That is what Christianity seems to be. Bible stuff. The Bible says fire and brimstone and all that. That's not what a Jesuit is. A Jesuit is somebody who actually follows Jesus the man. Now, there is a Jesuit order. And trust me, I'm getting to this for a reason. And we're talking about the Pope. There is a Jesuit order in the Catholic Church, and it's one of the primary orders. And the Jesuits in the Catholic Church, their job, what they are tasked with doing, is making sure that the flock, Christians, are educated as to who Jesus was and what Jesus would have done. What would Jesus do was a big Jesuit thing. Remember that? Those were Jesuits. Not to be confused with Carmelites or Marianites or any of the other Catholic orders that are out there, and there's a whole bunch of them. But Jesuits are the ones that are really only about Jesus. Like, what did he say here? What did he do in this? The man, don't fucking give me about the Bible and the Old Testament. And, Moses said, no, fucking Jesus. What did Jesus do? And I think that is the heart and soul of Christianity. Jesus, not the corporate structure of this is how we want you to vote, or this is what we think of those people. No. So why do I mention all this? Because one of the most fascinating things about Pope Francis, who just passed away, one of the most fascinating things is that he was the first pope in history who was a Jesuit. He was the first pope in history who actually saw his faith through the eyes and deeds of Jesus Christ, which is not something that I think a lot of Christians do. It's certainly not a practice that I think most Christians, they used to with the what would Jesus do thing, but that went away. That went away. Replaced by fidget spinners or something, whatever the next trend was. But I wanted to give you a couple of fun facts about the evil Jesuit, Pope Francis, okay? At the time of his death, Pope Francis' personal wealth, the Pope, the fucking Pope, what do you think the Pope is worth? Oh my God. At the time of his death, his personal wealth was reported to be just under $100. He owned no property, held no bank accounts, and had no investments. Although entitled to an annual salary as Pope of 340 euros, which is $386,000 American. So despite him receiving a $380,000 salary as the Pope, he never accepted a cent of it. As a member of the Society of Jesus, that's Jesuits. That's what the Jesuits are. As a member of the Society of Jesus, he had taken a lifelong vow of poverty and honored it through his pontificate. Fuck you, people. Fuck you, Megyn Kelly. Fuck you, people taking shits on this man. This man's entire life is fucking recorded. You see how he lived his life. You people. He's a good man. And I want to show you this too. I want to do one more thing about the Pope and then we'll move on. Come on, dude. I'm not a holy roller. I'm just talking about a man. I'm just talking about a man who obviously seemed to be a good human being, who actually took the lessons of Jesus Christ and tried to live his life in such a way that would make Jesus proud. Okay, that was Francis's whole thing. Not being a Christian and telling other people what's good and what's wrong. Don't forget, this is the guy who like 10 years ago was confronted by a question from a gay man who said, I'm a gay man and a Catholic. Will I go to heaven? And Pope Francis is the Pope who looked at this man, gave him a big hug and said, if you love the Lord with your heart, our Lord is a forgiving Lord. Our Lord is a loving Lord. Our Lord is an understanding Lord. That was the church of Francis. And he pinned it with, so who am I? Who am I to say? If you're a good Christian, this is what we teach. If you are a good Christian of heart and you love Jesus, he will accept you. That's the Jesus. That's the Pope. Oh my God, was he criticized? Oh my God. Let me show you something. I watched this over the weekend, and I didn't even know this was a thing, but I saw it because apparently, because the Pope, Netflix put this back on. I didn't even know this movie. Have you ever heard of the movie The Two Popes? It's a Netflix movie. It was made a couple of years ago. It stars Anthony Hopkins and somebody else. I don't know who the guy is who plays Pope Francis, but he looks exactly like Pope Francis. And it's a film about the relationship between the two popes who existed at the same time, which is very rare. Watch this. I watched the film. Even the way he is portrayed in this film. I mean, Benedict, who was played by Anthony Hopkins, he was a hated pope. He was considered, he was the Nazi pope, right? Even he comes off as a guy that's sort of misunderstood. But you see Francis, you see the man that died. You see the way he's portrayed, and it's just amazing. He's just an amazing human being.
What is that plant?
It's oregano. Your gardener gave it to me.
You're very popular.
I just try to be myself.
Whenever I try to be myself, people don't seem to like me very much.
Confidential church documents were allegedly leaked to the press,
alleging corruption
and misconduct among the clergy.
I hope this business is not too distressing.
Does a shepherd run away with the wolves up here?
We are moving in directions I can no longer condone.
I've struggled to do what must be done, but I've lost.
Popes can't resign. If you do this, you will damage the papacy forever.
I can no longer sit on the chair of St. Peter.
You're mistaken. You are...
I cannot play this role anymore. There's a saying, God always corrects one pope by presenting the world with another pope. I should quite like to see my correction.
Cuando tenga la tierra, la tendrán los
Reform needs a politician.
The most important qualification for any leader is not wanting to be leader.
It's not me who needs to be satisfied. It's 1.2 billion believers.
Cuando tenga la tierra, te lo
You're the right person. Church needs to change, and you could be that change.
It could never be me.
The grand doors have slammed shut and will remain so till the next pope has been chosen.
From that balcony up there, nothing is static in nature, not even God.
Where should we find him if he's always moving?
On the journey?
Oh, perhaps we'll find God over there on the journey. I'll introduce you to him. Big Pope, you must remember that you are not God. You're only human.
That's how I spent Saturday night. I watched that Saturday night. I'd never heard of that movie before, and it's just one of them things where it pops up and you're like, oh, where the hell did this come from? The two popes. Very interesting. Also, there's a story going around. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm not going to get into it because I haven't read the story, but apparently the Pope wrote a letter. Apparently Pope Francis, like before he died, after meeting J.D. Vance, he wrote a letter. I don't know if it's true yet. I have to follow up on it. I haven't checked it out, but apparently it's very critical of the current state of American politics. But okay, Pope Francis is a fucking good human being, a decent man. All right, we're going to move on now. Let's see. What else do we have here? And I'm not even a Catholic. Again, I am a lapsed Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school and church and all that kind of stuff. But I decided, as a grown-up, I decided that I am not I'm not subscribing to all that nonsense anymore. But I did take a few things. I am culturally Catholic. I love the pomp and circumstances. I love, the Pope stuff and all that. That's fun. That's cool. I dig it. Midnight Mass. That's a really cool thing. Cool, fun, cultural sort of, experience to have. I'm glad I have that. But yeah, I don't go to a Catholic. I wouldn't consider myself a Catholic. I saw there was some conversation in the chat room about whether or not I was Catholic or not. All right, here's a fun story. This comes to us from Milan. Is this in Italy? I totally forgot about this story. Did you guys remember like 10 years ago when Kim Kardashian got robbed in her fancy Italian hotel room? I think they were in Milan or something. Kim Kardashian, my good friend, Kim Kardashian, they broke into her fancy hotel room. They tied her to a chair and they ransacked her hotel room and stole all of her jewels. I mean, when I read this story this morning, I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, yeah, I do kind of remember that. I mean, what kind of insane headline life do you lead when you being tied up and robbed of tens of $millions worth of jewelry is something that you go, oh yeah, I think I remember her having done that. Was that before or after the butt implants and the marriage to Kanye and dating Pete Davidson and becoming a lawyer and advocating in the Oval Office? I mean, Jesus. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Kim Kardashian. She's my good friend. But that thing that happened like 10 years ago, it's just going to trial now. You think the wheels of American justice is slow. By the way, speaking of the wheels of American justice, Netflix also put up a new O.J. Simpson thing over the weekend. It's a new like 3-part docuseries, OJ, what happened? And I know there's like 50 of them and I feel like I've seen them all, but I lived it. So I'm interested in the way that it's being covered for historical purposes, right? I understand that even though I've seen 50 of them, these are designed for like the 16-year-old who might just be learning about this now. So I watch them. And so I ripped through that too. I ripped through 3 episodes of the new O.J. Simpson, what really happened. And I got to tell you, folks, I am starting to think he might have did it. I am starting to think that maybe OJ fucking killed those people. All right. So the Kim Kardashian robbery trial is happening. They're known as the Granddad Robbers or the Grandpa Bandits. Grandpa Bandits. I think that's got better alliteration, right? Grandpa Bandits. Let's see here. Because they're all old men. They were like dudes in their 80s. It was like dudes. The youngest was like 63 and the oldest was like 82. Some of them are dead, like 10 years for them to go on trial. And like one of them just died. Another one died like years ago. Another one wrote a book. He's like a best-selling author about this whole thing. Anyway, Kim Kardashian is finally seeing the wheels of justice turn in her robbery case. 10 people are going to trial today, accused of sticking her up at gunpoint 9 years ago in France. Okay, it's France. Thought it was Milan, but whatever. Kim is expected to travel to Paris and testify May 13th. She's explained in horrifying detail how the robbers broke into her hotel suite, pushed her on the bed, tied her up with plastic cables, taped her hands, and then blindfolded her at gunpoint. She was put in the bathtub as the robbers made off with $10 million in jewels. It was so traumatic, Kim told cops. She thought she was going to be raped. Well, this is where, look, silver lining, right? That's what we do. We look for the silver lining. We have a silver lining playbook that we look for. Okay, so the silver lining here is that, Kim, you were robbed by men in their 80s. Okay, they weren't real. First of all, they weren't sure they could perform. And that's, silver lining. She says it was traumatic, Kim told cops. She thought she was going to be raped. Again, yeah, you got lucky. You got lucky there, kid. So much time has passed since the theft that one of the suspects, Yunus Abbas, was able to write a novel detailing his... Okay, there you go. Whatever. We don't need that. A bunch of old dudes robbed Kim Kardashian 9 years ago, and they're just going to trial now in Paris. Kill. All right, let's see what else we have here. Boom. Okay, we're going to get into the draft stuff, the Shedeur Sanders. We're going to talk about the prank. We're going to talk about the whole race issue. It's a bit of a higher test conversation that we're going to be getting into here. So let me take a quick break. I'm going to run to the bathroom. Pugs, you're doing this all the time. I'm take a quick break. I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And then we're going to get into the Virginia Joffrey stuff. We're going to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their new class for this year. That'll be fun. We're going to get into the Shedeur Sanders prank, Deion Sanders, his role, and all the other draft stuff that we're going to get into. Okay, so we've got, also I've got some very weird videotape from 60 Minutes last night. I don't know if you guys saw 60 Minutes last night. There's 2 pieces of videotape I'm going to show you. One of them concerns Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. I guess Bill Belichick was the guest last night. I haven't seen the whole 60 Minutes. I've only seen the clips. But there's some we're going to have to get into what's going on with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. We're just going to get into it. All right, all that and more coming up. We will be right back, okay? I promise. Be right back. I just need to run to the restroom. All right, here we go. There we are. All right, very good. We're back. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see here. What are we going to go into? Pledge week. Got to mention that. Pledge week. Tip the show if you can. Appreciate that. Trying to raise $50 per show through tips. If you can help out, appreciate it. Back nine tomorrow. We're going to be doing trivia at the back nine, 4060 Beltline Road, starting at 7:30. All kinds of cool prizes and stuff to give away. People, you get stuff. You get swag, clothes, hemp, weed. It's legal. It's legal, and it's from a sponsor. So there you go. All right, come on out tomorrow. That is the back nine, 4060 Beltline Road for trivia. Hey. All right, let's get into the whole Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, NFL draft drama and storyline that went down over the weekend. Now, when last we spoke about the NFL draft, it was Friday afternoon, and we'd mentioned that this was so strange. Here you have Shedeur Sanders, who plenty of so-called experts had as the top quarterback in the draft. Now, most people had Cam Ward slated as number one, but Shedeur, there were people out there who were like, Shedeur Sanders is the next. They were hypnotized, mesmerized, whatever the eyes is. They were caught up, bamboozled, hoodwinked by the whole Deion machine, which promised that Shedeur was a transformational quarterback. He's going here, and I'm going to pick where he goes. There was a lot of talk, is my point. So we get into the draft, and on night one of the draft, round one comes and goes, and oh my God, can you believe it? That Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders, was not chosen in the draft. Oh my God. It was like a 97% chance of that not happening. Like, it was not supposed to happen. He was absolutely, some people had him going 2, some people had him going top 4, top 5, top 10. I think most reasonable people had him, after 20 as like maybe the second or third quarterback taken after Cam Ward, whatever. That was the expectation. So when he slid out of the first round, I was blown away. I was. Now, I'm not a quarterback expert. I was a quarterback expert on last year's draft because my team had the number one pick, and I really went deep on all the quarterbacks. I was sure of the one that I wanted. And I got him. I got the one that I wanted. So, but I didn't do that this year. So I don't know from Jackson Dart, right? I don't know any of these guys. Quinn Ewers, I guess I'm a little bit familiar with because I watched enough Texas games. Cam Ward, because he, led the pack. I'm familiar with him. Shedeur Sanders, I saw him. Colorado got a lot of pub. I saw him. I don't know. It was a shitty. I don't know what I saw from him. Did I see a kid who's got potential? Yeah. Did I see an athlete? Absolutely. Colorado sucks, though. Let's not kid ourselves. He had no line. He was running around. I mean, the NFL is a different game. I don't know what I'm looking at there. But other people did. Other people who are so-called experts, they thought they were looking at a top draft pick. So when Thursday came and went, and Deion Sanders' little boy, Shedeur, wasn't in the first round, it was shocking. I came on here and I said, that was fun. And that was a bit of an attitude adjustment for somebody who I felt needed to be humbled. I felt good for Shedeur Sanders. He's going to lose like what? $3 million? Isn't that the difference in a rookie contract between first round and second round? I'm like, good for him. This dude's driving around in a Bentley already. This kid was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I don't give a shit that his falling out of the first round is going to cost him financially. I might feel that way for someone like Cam Ward, who's just a dude who's, playing football, but not Shedeur Sanders, not the Prince. Come on. So that was fun. And I came on here and I looked at the round 2 and I saw Cleveland picking at the top of round 2. And I said to you guys, I go, he's not going to fall past that. He's going to be the first pick of the second round. All right. That first round, Shedeur not being picked in the first round was nothing more than just the league sending a message that this is an opportunity to play at the highest level of football. We are the gatekeepers of this opportunity. And if we think you're an asshole, it doesn't matter what your 40 time is or how far you can throw a ball, which, by the way, Deion even admits Shedeur doesn't have the greatest arm in the world. He's accurate. He's good on the run. off platform, as they say. But okay, so he fell out of the first round and into the second, and then we haven't had time to chat about this. He fell out of the second round. I was absolutely stunned. Then other quarterbacks started going. He fell out of the third round. He fell out of the fourth round. Third round is when we really started hearing the thing that I just cringe from. When Shedeur Sanders fell out of the third round, that's when we started to hear that this is a race thing, that this is because he's black, that this is because he's a black man with a big mouth and he struts around, and the white man. Do you realize how many men of color there are in NFL GM offices in this league? Stop it, okay? This idea that the NFL of 2025 is the NFL of 1965 with Al Davis, George Halas, and whoever these guys are, smoking cigarettes with their greased back hair, deciding that coloreds can't be quarterback. That's not what is happening anymore. And the elephant in the room on the race discussion. The black quarterback has always faced a different set of rules, and the black quarterback, you started seeing this stuff. You started seeing this stuff from people with platforms, people who know better. Stephen A. Smith. Who's that guy Bayless? People who know better, people with influence. They're out here turning this into a race issue because they know that that's going to get them clicks. That's what's going to burn everything up. That's what's going to sell. And they're in the business of selling their brand and their hot takes, shitty as they may be. The elephant in the room is that Cameron Ward was taken number 1 overall, no questions asked. Cameron Ward is a black quarterback. Last year, the first 2 quarterbacks taken, no questions asked, were Caleb Williams and Daniels. From what's his first name? Why can't I think of his first name? What is the Met? 2 black quarterbacks. Okay, it's not the league where we don't take black kids as quarterback anymore. It is no longer the league where you take a guy like Lamar Jackson, you draft him, and then you say, "Can you play wide receiver, kid?" That's not the league anymore. The guys doing the drafting are people of color, or if they're not people of color, those fucking draft rooms in every goddamn team office is filled. It's a goddamn Benetton ad. You'll see lesbian women. You'll see Chinese dudes. You'll see tall, gangly white guys. You'll see big black dudes in suits. It is not the league that still plays this race game about black men can't do this. So stop it. And again, you make these arguments knowing full well that there are plenty of black quarterbacks. Why did they decide to make this argument? I don't know. I guess it's just because keeping us divided, keeping us stirred up racially is guaranteed to get you clicks, to get you movement, to get people commenting. Again, it doesn't matter what the comment is. It's about somebody commenting. It's about action on your page. These people do this deliberately to keep us all fucking angry. The fact of the matter is that Shedeur Sanders carried himself largely like an asshole. The fact of the matter is that Deion Sanders, his father, although popular with a game day audience, or popular when he goes on First Take and starts saying shit, or popular at Colorado, and also I'll say here in Dallas, because that's about it. Although those things may be true about Deion, he is not popular in the NFL. He is not popular with general managers. He is not popular with scouts. He's an asshole, and everybody knows it, and nobody wants to deal with Deion Sanders. So that's one problem. Drafting his kid. I mean, if you think NBA teams had a problem with LeVar Ball, or before the Bears chose Caleb Williams last year, there was talk about, oh my God, how involved is his dad? If you think those were things that league office officials were really worried about, imagine having all of those same character traits, but now they're being possessed by a Hall of Famer in the sport. Now they're being possessed by a dude with legitimate agency, and that's what Deion Sanders has. No GM wants to fucking deal with that. Shedeur Sanders doesn't start week 1. Are you going to have to deal with tweets going viral from Dion criticizing the office? You can't trust that Dion's not going to do that. So stop acting like he wasn't chosen because he was black. He wasn't chosen because he's the son of an asshole. And everybody seems to think he interviewed like an asshole. Remember that? That came out last week. An unnamed source who interviewed Shedeur Sanders said that it was the worst potential draft pick interview he has ever been involved in. He said he was entitled. He said that he was dumb. He said that he came in with an entourage of like 15 people and then basically laughed his way through the interview. Tom Pelissero had something to say about that. Tom Pelissero was one of the guys who broke some of the stories about why Shedeur was sliding. And none of them had to do with race. They all had to do with actual things that we've seen from Shedeur Sanders. So let me show you this. Let me show you Tom Pelissero in the middle of everybody tweeting about how the NFL is racist and this and that. Here's what he had to say. Hold on. So if you want to be outraged about the whole race thing, fine. Then that's just who you are. You are one of those divisive people. Or you can just listen to some facts, okay? So here it is. This comes from the draft. Tom Pelissero, in the middle of the whole this is a racist thing. Here's Tom Pelissero trying to explain exactly why he believes, as one of the NFL's best insiders, and he is, Shedeur fell.
Mike, it was not a shock within the NFL and team buildings when Shedeur Sanders did not go in the first round. I would fairly tell you it is a surprise that he is still on the board at the start of day 3. Philosophically, some teams feel like if you are drafting at the quarterback position specifically, if you think you got a starter, you take him in round 1. If you're drafting somebody to be your backup, you don't want to do that until day 3. I spoke last night with one general manager who is considering taking Shedeur Sanders today. He pointed back all the way to March 2024 and something that Shedeur's father, Deion Sanders, said on a podcast talking about both Shedeur and Travis Hunter, saying that if they are drafted by a team that they don't want to go to, he's going to step in and pull an Eli, meaning force those players to not actually go to that team and try to get them traded. Throughout the pre-draft process, Shedeur Sanders very much...
All right, so you understand that right there, a very valid point. Deion Sanders last year was on a podcast talking about how he was going to deny certain teams who tried to draft his son. That if his son wasn't drafted by a team that Deion approved of, that he was going to pull an Eli. Now, we're going to listen to this audio. We've got it. But let's let Tom Pelissero finish about some other reasons that NFL GMs weren't interested in committing first-round rookie money, second-round rookie money to this potential problem.
Much proceeded as if he forced those players to not actually go to that team and try to get them traded. Throughout the pre-draft process, Shedeur Sanders very much proceeded as if he was dictating to clubs where he was going to go rather than how the draft works, which is the other way around. And there were a bunch of opportunities missed at the various checkpoints through that pre-draft process. Go all the way back to All-Star season. Instead of going to the Senior Bowl, he went to the East-West Shrine Bowl in his backyard in Dallas. Despite an NFL memo saying if you go to these All-Star games, you have to practice, Shedeur chose not to. At the Combine, it is now well documented some of his formal interviews did not go well. One assistant coach told me in all his years, it was the worst formal interview he'd ever been through. People said that Shedeur was trying to dictate how he wanted things to go and made them feel small. Even at the Pro Day, the entire Big 12 had an event in Dallas. Shedeur was there, but did not work out. He had a showcase instead in Colorado. All of which is to say, for a player who had a variety of questions both about the talent level, how he would fit into an NFL system, how he would adjust from his play style in college, but also about the potential culture shock of for the first time playing for someone who is not his father. There were opportunities that Shedeur Sanders could have taken there. He seemed to feel as if he was in an elite category where he could choose the few teams he wanted to go to. Now some of those very same teams that might be considering taking Shedeur today didn't get those opportunities to answer their questions.
What teams want on the...
All right, well, that's all we really need to know about that. All right, so that's a guy who, now that the draft is in full swing and GMs have been revealed to not want him. So you're not going to say it before the draft because you don't want to play your hand. You don't want other teams in your division or whatever thing. So now that it's in full swing, he's more comfortable talking about how it's multiple sources within the league offices in different cities Said they don't want this guy here. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. So let's show first Deion on that podcast talking about here. Where is it? Deion on the podcast. Here we go. Yeah. Talking about where he thought his son, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter. By the way, Travis Hunter, no problem with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter went, what, second, third? Something like that? Travis Hunter was fine. He's not Deion's kid, right? They probably think they can deal with Travis Hunter. All right, here you go. This was from a podcast that Deion Sanders was on last year. This is being quoted now openly as one of the major red flags that league offices saw about drafting Shedeur.
You predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4. That's beautiful. Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
speak it
1.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I want them to go. And let's not forget Shallow. Okay, but I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
See?
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be. It's not. I'm sorry. It's gonna be.
There you have it. It's gonna be an Eli. He said the quiet part out loud. Went on a podcast and threatened other teams that if you draft my son and I don't like you, we're not playing for you. The fucking arrogance. I mean, look, we're not shocked. That's Deion Sanders. That's why everybody in places where he didn't play think he's a fucking asshole. He's a complete dick. He's always been a complete dick. I'll tell you, one of my favorite Deion Sanders stories is Carlton Fisk, who's one of my baseball heroes, got thrown out of a game late in his career. He was catching for the White Sox. Deion was playing for the Yankees. Deion was doing this whole, I'm playing for 2 teams kind of a deal, right? The commander, Carlton Fisk, one of the greats, Hall of Famer, one of the great catchers, one of the great purists of how to play the game and play the game right. It's one of them old school guys. Deion Sanders hit a lazy something and then stood there in the batter's box and didn't run. Started to walk to first base. It was a ground ball. He didn't run it out. Carlton Fisk got up and walked with him to first base the whole time, chewing him out, saying, you're being disrespectful. You're being disrespectful to all of us. Play the game. Run. And it turned into a big thing. Deion Sanders has always been a disrespectful asshole. It's all about him, okay? No team wants to deal with that. Now, what is his son? What is the prince? What is the Prince of Prosper? Isn't that where he was raised? What is this kid like? Oh, Pugs, it's, not fair. To sins of the father and all of that. How do you know that Shedeur's not a good dude? Well, let's look at some examples of Shedeur Sanders out in the wild, okay? The first one I'm going to show you, this comes to us from, let's see, this is a game. I don't know who they're playing. Excuse me. I don't know who they're playing, but it looks like his brother Shiloh Sanders has just scored a touchdown. And the sideline guy for the other team tries to get the football because that's his job. He's the ball guy. He collects the balls. Now, I will say that I think that he was kind of a dick about it. I think that the way he went to grab the ball from Shiloh after scoring was not cool. He's probably an asshole. Could be a situation where nothing but assholes. But I want to show you the way Shedeur Sanders handled this guy, this fucking working guy, this fucking guy on the sideline at whatever college this is. He looks like he's a middle-aged dude. He's probably got kids in college himself. Look at the way the Prince of Prosper, Shedeur Sanders, handles this. And now imagine you're a general manager of a football team trying to figure out if this kid's your franchise quarterback or not, trying to figure out if this is the guy that you want leading the locker room, that this is the guy who, when things go bad, is going to act appropriately, okay? Here you go. Check this out. This is Shedeur Sanders. This is one of the things that NFL GM saw and why he wasn't taken. Okay, so 21 is Shiloh. He's just scored. Okay, see there, right there. This the ball guy, right? He's got all the balls. That's his job. So he's just scored and he's getting the ball. All right. There he is. In the ball. Look, he kind of knocks it out of his hand. Okay, so that's kind of not cool. That's Shiloh Sanders, who's just had the ball knocked out of his hands. Look at the way Shiloh Sanders, who also I think went undrafted. Look at the way Shedeur got drafted. But I think Shiloh went undrafted. Watch the way he responds to having this happen. He turned to him, gave him a look, and walked away. Turned to him, gave him a look, and walked away. Hey, what do you do? I want to keep that, right? Look at him. I want to keep that ball. I just scored with this ball. And he's like, but I'm the ball guy. And he's like, but I want to keep this one because it's special, and I've got a really cool room like my big brother where all my memorabilia is stored. And so he's going to keep this ball, all right? Oh, here's Shiloh. Here's Shedeur. Here he is. You're a general manager, all right? This is over with. Everybody is walking away. It's over with. This is the guy that you're going to sign to a $50 million a year contract in 3 years. This is the guy who's going to be the face of your franchise. All right. Let's see how he reacts to this guy. This, again, working man, middle-aged guy. It looks like he's 40-something years old. Gets in his face. Yeah, come on, man. What's up? Challenging him. The aggressor here is your franchise quarterback to be. Okay? You a hoe. Calls this regular $45,000 a year sideline dude a hoe. The Prince of Prosper, your franchise quarterback, your brand, calls this guy a hoe. And now, let me show you the hangers on. Because this guy, don't think that this little guy in the black t-shirt with the white long sleeve shirt on, don't think that this guy is anybody important. He's not. He's a suck dick of Shedeur Sanders. And watch what he does. He physically assaults this man for doing his job while Shedeur calls him a hoe. This is the band of thugs that you're inviting into your team, and you're going to tell me that the reason he wasn't taken is because he's black. Again, let me point out Cam Ward going number 1. Watch it again. All right, there you have. All right, so there's just one clip. Go ahead, defend that. No, that's not my starting quarterback. That's not my QB1. My QB1 is getting everybody off the field and getting focused on the next play. My QB1 isn't calling some strange dude on the sideline a hoe and then having his little fucking turtle give him a fucking body shot. Are you kidding me? Pugs, it's only a 5-second. It was the heat of the... No, fuck that. That says a lot about your mentality. What kind of person you have. Oh, he's a gamer, Pugs. He's in the game. Yeah, you got to be able to control it. Or else guess what you are? You're called a head case. And that's what the league saw. A fucking head case that they don't want to deal with. He comes from an entitled family. He's got a dad that's going to make problems. It's not about the color of his skin. It's about the fucking... It's about his mind. All right, so now one more thing I want to show you. These are a couple of incredibly telling videos, and I wish I had better versions of them. Cam Ward went number 1 black quarterback. Again, I feel silly even saying black quarterback in 2025. They're all black. I said a couple of years ago, I don't want any more white quarterbacks. I only want black quarterbacks because that seems like the league. At least half black. What is Patrick Mahomes? He's half, right? Okay, whatever. It's obvious to me that there needs to be some of that in order to have a good modern quarterback. So let me show you this. This is Cam Ward, who went number 1 overall, black quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders working out together. 2 of the top quarterbacks just working out together. Somebody from Shedeur's team recorded this. This is from Shedeur's team. Okay, that made this public, that put this out. So when I tell you that he's not only a problem whose head isn't in the game, let's add he's also media stupid. He fucking released this with absolutely no thought on how GMs or scouts seeing this shit of him working out with Cam and what a difference they are. They are 2 completely different people. One of these guys was drafted number 1 overall. It wasn't even a doubt. And the other guy was taken in the 5th round. Let's watch this. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders hanging out together. These are their 2 personalities. You tell me which one you would rather invest a 1st-round pick in.
They gave you a completion percentage award, and all you did was throw check downs and bubble screens. If I did that, my completion percentage would be 90. I throw the ball downfield, you don't. You ran the ball. You had a run game. You had a run game. You had a run game. And you didn't? No. You was told that thing first. Think about total rushing yards. No, man. That ain't my fault. I hope you're not getting no water. We just had the first drill. Oh, that's how you feel? You get water, we ain't even done with the first drill. Let's go. That's how it is in Colorado, though. Inside the numbers, top. That's what it's like for a 9-win man. I didn't have water. I drink Gatorade. Shit, I get paid for. That's cool. I don't need to get paid.
There you have it. There you have Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders working out. Shedeur Sanders taking a break, getting himself a little bit of something to drink, which is fine. You know, Cam Ward pointing out that I don't need a break. I'm not looking. I'm looking to ball. I'm looking to practice. We out here to practice. You over there drinking water. And Shedeur, the reason Shedeur thought that was okay was because he wasn't drinking water. He was drinking Gatorade. He gets paid to drink Gatorade. All right. So if you're not swayed by that, there's more. I've got more of Shedeur Sanders and the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. How about this? I think this is from a different workout because it looks like it's at a different place. I think, is this the one from SMU? This one might be, yeah, this is the workout at SMU between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. All right, I want you to watch this. And again, I want you to pretend that you are an NFL GM, a general manager, and you're deciding which one of these 2 young quarterbacks you're going to take with your first-round pick. Here you go, Shedeur and Cam Ward.
Come on, bro, let's make a song. Let's drop for him, real shit. I play football. Here we go. Yeah, football. I play football. You ain't got no hobbies outside of that? I play football. That's the only thing I want people to know me as, football player. Let's search up Cam Ward. Let me see, American football.
Back in my zone, man, you know I can't stop.
All right, I'm going to show it to you one more time. But again, if you missed that, it's Shedeur Sanders saying, man, you got to make a rap album. You got to make a rap album. And Cam Ward saying, I'm a football player. He's like, no, man, you got to make a rap album. You ain't got no hobbies. Cam Ward's like, I'm Cam Ward, American football player. It ain't because Shedeur Sanders is black. Anybody that you see going down that path is broken or an agent of whatever this divisive cabal has overtaken social media. It ain't about him being black. One more time, let's watch this. Shedeur Sanders trying to get Cam Ward, the number 1 pick, to make a rap album.
Come on, bro, let's make a song. Let's drop for him, real shit. I play football. Here we go. Yeah, football. I play football. You ain't got no hobbies outside of that? I play football. That's the only thing I want people to know me as, football player. Let's search up Cam Ward. Let me see, American football.
Yeah, and that's why Shedeur Sanders dropped. Now, what's going on my TV here? My eagle. I always got to go back and get my eagle. There we go, baby. You beautiful bird, you. All right, so that's why he fell. It's not a matter of race. It has nothing to do with it. I see people like, well, Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel. Those guys weren't jerks. Those guys didn't do jerky things. Those guys were party boys. Those guys got in trouble for being drunk, well, it's okay if, Shedeur was a drunk. Well, maybe because, in the case of Johnny Manziel, that dude's got real addiction issues, and I can have some empathy and some compassion for him. Shedeur Sanders doesn't seem to have any of those issues. Shedeur Sanders seems to be entitled. Shedeur Sanders seems to have been raised in this bubble of Deion Sanders' universe and is an absolute asshole of a young man, and he is now paying for that. With all of that said, Shedeur got pranked. Oh my God. So not only was he just humiliated because, the fall. Remember, this is the guy who refused to go to the draft, pulled out going to the draft because he wanted to control the whole production. So he had in Canton, Texas, his home. This college football player has like a mansion out there. And it's not just NIL. It's also that he's a Sanders, that he's got money from his daddy. So he's got this he built a room in his house for one night. He built a draft room. Had the construction guys come in and built the draft room so that his big moment, when he was going first, second, third, fourth, whatever, he could control it all. It's another bad look. It's another bad look. So when he started to fall, we all started to get giddy. I was really hard on the young man. I was like, this guy sucks. Oh, I hate this guy. I mean, I was really tweeting up a storm. I was loving his fall. Couldn't have happened to a bigger asshole, is how I saw it. But then he got pranked. And I think this was on Saturday that this started going around. Maybe it was on Sunday. He got pranked. So the way the draft works is that, you gather with all your people and you have your draft party. If you're doing it at your house, and you get a phone call. You get a phone call about 5 minutes before they announce it on TV. You get a phone call from a general manager of the team that's going to draft you. And they say, hey, Shedeur, this is, it's Jerry Jones. This is Ryan Poles with the Chicago Bears. This is, I don't want to say. I was going to say the Saints. I don't want to. Anyway, And they say, we're thinking about drafting you here. How do you feel about that? And you're like, well, I'm very pleased. Thank you, sir. That's the moment. That's the draft moment. It's a great moment. There's one piece of video that's going around that is absolutely gorgeous. It's some defensive end, and he's sitting there at his draft party, and he's got his baby, and his life changes right there, and we get to see it. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's kind of what Shedeur thought was happening here. Shedeur gets a call on Saturday. So let's watch this, okay? This is wild. This is all right. So where is it? Here's the actual prank. Yeah, we'll do this one. So again, this is at Shedeur's house. This is Shedeur getting drafted. He's getting the call. He's so excited. I think this is in the second round. I'm not sure. Anyway, I can't make it bigger because what? Oh, I can't make it bigger. Oh, that's about as big as I can make it. All right, guys, let's watch this. Here we go. Shedeur getting pranked.
Hello? You got that call. You know what's going on? Ready to go! Say it one more time for me.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you. Ready to go!
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
Yeah, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Click!
What does that mean? What? What are you saying? I don't know.
How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone?
You heard that? You said you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
All right, so there it is. There's the prank phone call that Shedeur Sanders was roped into taking. He videoed it. And by the way, once again, that video came from them. They released that video. They'll take clicks any way they get them, even if it means they're being laughed at. Okay, well, hey, money is money, right? I'm a poor guy sitting here shaking my tin can during pledge week, so what do I know about making money? But there you go. They released that. That was a fake. The call was, hey, it's Mickey Loomis from the Saints. We're going to take you right here. And then his response was, great, let's be legendary. And then the other pranker on the phone said, yeah, you know what? You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that. Click. And Shedeur didn't know what that was about. Shedeur was like, what? I don't know. Why? And then he gets into a whole conversation about who's got this number, who doesn't have that number. Okay, so this is interesting because after Shedeur released that, the actual dudes who made the prank, okay, they released a video of them doing the prank. So we just saw one side of it. Now let's watch the other side. Let's watch the college kids who somehow, and by the way, that's coming up next, somehow got a hold of Shedeur Sanders' number. We do know who these kids are now. And boy, oh boy, is that fun. Here you go. This is the prank from the other side.
Hey, is this Shedeur? This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Let's be legendary.
Hey, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
All right, boys. All right. let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that is, because we know what that is now. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Yeah. So that was Jeff Ulbricht's son, Jeff Ulbricht. He is the new defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. And here's what happened. So on draft day, those phone numbers, those are all one-time only phone numbers. They are a bunch of burner phones that are sent to all of the top players. That's the call that's going to come in from a team. And that phone is the number. It's not his personal phone, but this is the number that all the teams get. Hey, we're the NFL. We sent these phones out to these players. These are the numbers. It's not a public number is my point. It's a burner. So the son of the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons here, let me see if I find the story. Not did Jeff Ulbricht's son. We know that Jeff Ulbricht's son did it. Let's see. And the Falcons, by the way, this is all public now. The Falcons have issued a statement regarding it. It says here, the 2025 NFL draft was marred by a cruel prank that targeted quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Among the swirling rumors is an unverified claim that Jax Ulbricht, son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbricht, was behind the prank that duped Sanders. By the way, it's not a rumor. It is absolutely true. It's now here's let's see a picture of him, right? Let's see. He wasn't the kid who was actually doing the calling, right? He was here, we'll show it to you this way. Yeah. All right, so this is that big enough? Did that work? Yeah, that worked. Okay, so that's him. Boop, 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 boop. Oh boy. Right here. This is the son of the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, this is Jax Ulbricht. His dad is Jeff Ulbricht. He's apologized. This kid, Jax Ulbricht, has gone on Instagram yesterday and wrote a whole thing. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. So we know who did it. Now I ask you this because I'm a father, okay? And this just seems like something that my fucking kid would do. I'm sorry, this has got my kid all over it. So I kind of look at it from that. But holy shit, can you imagine the trouble that Jax Ulbricht got in from his dad, who is a defensive coordinator? You know, kids who were raised by cops? Jesus, imagine being raised by a football coach. No, thank you. That kid, Jax Ulbricht, I would kill. What they should do as a follow-up, since they now got an account with a whole bunch of hits, as a follow-up, they should have recorded the phone call between dad, Jeff Ulbricht, and son, Jax. Then release that. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear Jeff. Could you imagine? He's only had the job since January. He was just hired in January as the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. And here we are on draft night, and his kid steals a phone number intended only for the dad. How did this happen? Well, they say that over Easter weekend, there was an iPad left on a table in the Ulbricht's home. And the son, who was home from college, he looked at it. He saw that it was Shedeur Sanders' NFL draft number, and he wrote it down. Fucking kid. God, I would be so mad at my kid. But also I would be like, okay, that's fucking funny. I can see why you pitched that to your friends. And then you guys were like, yeah, let's do it after a bunch of beers. But here's what I would be angry about. I'd be like, dude, first of all, you fucking betrayed me. Right? So right now I'm the dad talking to my son. You fucking betrayed me. That's my job. And I don't know which way I'm supposed to process this. Did you betray me because you weren't thinking about what happens next and you didn't really believe it would be that big of a deal because it just seemed too funny and you wanted to go with the instant gratification of doing something that would blow up on the internet and you didn't really think it would be a big deal and they couldn't possibly trace it back to you? Is that what you were thinking? Or are you just fucking stupid? Are you just fucking stupid and you hate me, your dad, and you're trying to fuck me out of my job? I don't know which way to look at this. That would be the conversation I would have with him. And then I would make him explain to me. And I would be really hoping that you're just a fucking stupid kid that you just didn't think. And, you know, I kind of have an understanding of this because my kid, who is very smart and who is, I mean, book smart, you know, like but he's still a kid. He's still 15. He's a little naive about how the world works and shit. And he's also he's clever. You know what I mean? Like I always say about my kid, he's either going to be a senator or a bank robber because he's like, you know, but I have seen time and time again with my kid, with decisions that he makes, things that he thinks he's going to get away with. I see time and time again that maybe it's lack of experience in life, but he doesn't think downfield. Like he doesn't think that this could be a great example is he never wears shoes anywhere. He's like a big ass hillbilly. Come on, we're going to the Kroger. He's like, all right, and just walk out to the car with no fucking shoes on. I'm like, dude, you got no shoes on. And then he'll break it to me. I'm going to stay in the car, which is what he likes to do when I go to the Kroger. He likes to sit in the car. And I'm like, but so you're going to sit in the car with no shoes on? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to sit in the car. And then I'm like, what if the car breaks down? What if the car breaks down? If we get a flat tire? What if something happens where we suddenly have to walk a couple of blocks? You ain't got fucking shoes on! So do you know that I have a pair of fucking Goodwill shoes in the trunk? Because my fucking kid never has shoes. And it's not that he doesn't have shoes. Here's his problem. He collects shoes. He's got a collection of Air Jordans. All the shoes that he has, he doesn't wear them outside. He's not going to get them dirty. So he wears flip-flops everywhere. And when he doesn't have flip-flops, he just goes in socks everywhere. So I don't know. So I got a dumb kid, you know. But my God, in the moment. And because, you know, this kid doesn't realize Jeff Ulbrich is now, think about Atlanta sports radio. Think about the first time Jeff Ulbrich's new defense fails to stop on the, you know, on the goal line and they lose a game. Think of a defensive coordinator in a town that doesn't have a history of being a good football operation. That defensive coordinator doesn't need this extra shit hanging over him. It'll never go away. Oh, that's the guy whose kid. He doesn't need that, but he's got it. So anyway, the crazy Ulbrich family. Hey, look at us. Look at us doing a big, healthy show here on the first day of Pledge Week. I hope you people appreciate it. It's already 2:09 and we're still rolling. I got a whole bunch of stuff we got to do. It is Pledge Week. Help us out, please. Trying to raise $50 a show. Who can get us there today? All right. That's okay. So here's one last thing that I do want to say about the draft. I want to play this. Indulge me because I love this, because this was, I'm a Bear fan. I'm a Chicago Bear fan. I make no apologies. You know, I like the Cowboys and I root for the Cowboys, but I am a Chicago Bear fan. They're my team. So the draft was held in Green Bay, which we knew, Chicago Bear fans, we knew was going to be a problem. We knew that it was going to be just like 4 nights of, you know, whenever there's downtime, it's just going to be chants of Bears still suck, Bears still suck. We know it's just what's going to happen in Green Bay. Every time we picked, you know, whoever was picking, the crowd was Bears suck, Bears suck. Hey, Green Bay, Chicago, whatever. So we understood that. And then we knew they were going to do some shit. We knew that they were going to fuck with us publicly, and, you know, but that's in their home. And what are we going to do? How are we going to respond? And they did. They sent Clay Matthews out there on the first night, and Clay Matthews opened up a letter supposedly from the president of the United States. And it was a proclamation, and he held it up, and Donald Trump and the seal of the White House and all that stuff. And he read the proclamation, and it was Bears still suck. Ha ha ha. Right. Everybody laughed at us. Bear Nation is fucking on Twitter going, that fucking guy. This was my favorite thing. This is how weird fans get. My favorite thing after Clay Matthews did that was that there was probably 1,000 people on Bears Twitter who were just ranking the Chicago Bear linebackers who are better than Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews isn't even a top 20 Bear linebacker. Fuck that guy. So, okay. So here's what can be unveiled now, which is pretty cool. The Bears had no idea what was going to happen. The Bears media team, the Bears marketing team, the branding team, whatever it is, the people who prepare for such things, they didn't know what the Packers were going to do, but they knew the Packers were going to do something. So what they did as a hedge to this was they went out and they got one of the loudest and most obnoxious Chicago Bear fans on the planet, WWE superstar Seth Rollins. They got Seth Rollins to come out And they're like, look, we don't know what Green Bay is going to do, but they're probably going to do something. So we want you to come out on day 2 and just fucking defend Bear Honor. So Seth Rollins, the current WrestleMania champion, he defeated both CM Punk and Roman Reigns just last week. Seth Rollins comes out after the whole Donald Trump says you suck from Clay Matthews. He comes out in front of a rabid crowd here in Green Bay. Packer fans all, by the way. The entire fucking city showed up for this stuff. Why not? Those people, there is nothing to do in that town. This is like the biggest thing that this town has ever had. Since the old Mark Chimura, Brett Favre hot tub parties. You remember those? Oh, yeah. All right, here you go. So this is how the Bears responded to the Packers. They sent the loudest, most obnoxious, most arrogant, most confident Bear fan on the planet out to stand in the face of Green Bay. And this is what he did.
For some highly entertaining stuff.
Green Bay, Wisconsin! Is that all you got? Come on, you can be louder than that! I know y'all mad because championship gold looks good on the blue and orange. But in all seriousness, Green Bay, we are in the shadow
Wait a
of
second.
Lambeau
Hold on. Wait, what's that guy? Hold on.
Field. Bay.
There ain't no Mexicans in Green Bay. Are you kidding me? During the offseason, there ain't any black guys in Green Bay. Green Bay's all white people. Fat, cheese-eating white people. This guy.
We are in the shadow of Lambeau Field. And I love Lambeau Field. Because the king of the North, the best quarterback in the NFC North, Caleb Williams, is undefeated at Lambeau Field.
All right, that's all we need. That's the great Seth Rollins. He came out and he just stood in front of just 100,000 people booing him and just was so fucking arrogant. We love it. I love that guy. All right, there you have it. That's all we're going to do on the draft. But I do want to do another football-related thing. Again, this doesn't really have anything to do with the X's and O's of football or your favorite team and what we're going to do next year. No, this has more to do with like football-adjacent stuff. 60 Minutes last night featured Bill Belichick, I guess, and so they released a bunch of clips. And Bill Belichick, of course, probably the greatest football coach in the history of the pros. I don't believe that. I'm a Bill Walsh guy, but, you know, Belichick certainly does enter into the conversation. I'm not a big fan of Bill Belichick, never have been. You know, I hate the Patriots, just like any other normal football fan who doesn't live in Boston. But I do not have a problem with this late in life romance that Bill Belichick seems to be engaging in. Bill Belichick's got a super young girlfriend. Bill Belichick's like, what, 70 something? I don't know. And he's got like a 28-year-old. Am I being too generous? Is she like 22? Like, how old is, I don't even know. Doesn't matter. At that point, we're talking about the difference in 3-4 years. And, you know, we're talking about decades. Okay. There are decades. He's old enough to be her grandpa. That's what we're talking about. People got a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. What's weird? What could they talk? Oh, shut the fuck up. What do you care? What do you care about two people and how they're choosing to spend whatever breaths they have left on this planet? Just fucking leave them alone. Is she being injured in any way, or is she benefiting from this? She's benefiting from this. Well, she can't possibly love him. She can't possibly. What the fuck do you mean? How reductive are you in the way that you define what love is? So you're just the specific reason that the attraction exists is where love derives from. So in your argument, the only way that she could actually have love for somebody is if she is physically attracted to them, if he's, her age and looks good, doesn't look like an old man. That's in your reductive sense of what love is. That's the only thing. She can't be attracted to anything else. Women can't be attracted to anything else. Men can't. I'm sorry. With men, yeah. With men, it's pretty much always, is she fuckable? That's okay. But no, women are better people than that. Women are attracted to all kinds of things. Women are attracted to security in a relationship. She can fall in love with somebody very easily if this person is going to provide them a sense of security for their rest of their life. They can fall in love with power, stroke. Dude, come on, man. How many, in your life, haven't you seen, dudes out kicking their coverage left and right, whether you're at a bar or whether you're, wherever you are, you sit and you're like, what is she doing with him? That's confidence. That's another thing that women really dig in a man. Women enjoy being with the most important person in the room. Now, why he's the most important person, there are all different kinds of reasons for that, but women are attracted to that, okay? So yeah, there's a really fucking real possibility that this girl does love her or love him. And he may love her. Well, she's young. He probably enjoys the sex. Good for him. But man, this idea that love can't exist because he's too much older and ugly and she couldn't possibly be attracted to him. No, that's not how love works, you reductive fools. So leave the man alone, not hurting anybody. Okay? Not hurting anybody. Unless you're her father, I don't want to hear anybody's opinion on this thing. Okay? That's the only person whose opinion I think is going to matter, what her dad says. So anyway, here they are. Here is their relationship. If anybody thought that this was a relationship where, she was just some piece of hot arm candy that he's sporting around, that she has zero agency in this relationship, 60 Minutes kind of showed us what this relationship is really like. Okay, watch this. This is Bill Belichick being interviewed yesterday by, I'm not sure who it is. I don't even know who's on CNN or who's on 60 Minutes anymore. All right, here it is. Jordan is her name. All right, here you go. The Bill Belichick thing.
Jordan was.
So there she is right there. All right, that's Bill Belichick. 70-something-year-old, 20-time Super Bowl, whatever, coach right here. Is this hot little college-age girlfriend. Is she at least graduate school aged? I mean, when we say college age, that could be an incoming freshman. That could be very weird. Anyway, let's watch this. Here you go.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on. Jordan.
All right, so there you have it. She interrupted us. She has the agency. She has the confidence in this relationship to interrupt a live CNN or a live 60 Minutes interview, which used to mean something. That's a big deal. Well, back when, there wasn't a billion other choices, I guess, on Sunday night after football. But it used to mean something. It's a big thing. It's the kind of thing that, I would think that a girlfriend who was being brought along on this interview might just going to sit here and be quiet. No, that's not their relationship. Their relationship seems to be something different. And if he's okay with it, you should be okay with it because it sounds like she's the boss. Have you seen the videos of her at UNC practice? He's now just, he's retired, but as a lark, he took over the head coaching job at University of North Carolina. He's a college coach again. And he's, again, got a hot girlfriend. He's a college coach. He's feeling like, death isn't, just around the corner. He's living life. This is the third act. Let's not be, and I'm not a Bill Belichick fan. I'm just saying, leave the dude alone. Let him fucking do what he wants. All right, there you go. No, she can't possibly love him. What the fuck are you talking about? She can't possibly love him. I have been with so many beautiful women who I believe loved me back, and I there's no way you people. No, she can't. Look, I'm very funny. I'm very confident. Chicks dig that. Bill Belichick's in a relationship. It's real. All right, now let's move on to the Virginia Joffrey stuff, right? This is the other thing that I wanted to talk about today. We are going deep on today's show. I hope you appreciate that. We're going all day. We're going all day this pledge week. I'm giving you 2 shows for the price of 1. Virginia Joffrey. Don't even know if I'm saying that right. Virginia Joffrey was, she sued Prince Andrew. She was one of Jeffrey Epstein's top girls, I guess, right? And then how we came to know her. She's been front and center. She's like the only one that we really know, right? From the Jeffrey Epstein girls. He set her up with Prince Andrew. They apparently had sex a couple of times. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Ghislaine Maxwell. Apparently they had sex with her a couple of times. She's been to the island, you know, the little Lolita Island. I think it's called Little St. James, but we call it Lolita Island. She's been there. She spent time at his freaky sex ranch in New Mexico. I mean, she's all over it. She knows everything that there is to know about the inner workings of his sex trafficking operation. She seems to have been his top girl. You don't just give some skag to Prince Andrew, right? Okay, so she got a big payout. She sued civilly Prince Andrew in New York. Although was Minnesota involved? There was something out of Minnesota as well. Point is this, the royal family cut a big check. They made it go away. It has to have been an incredible check. I imagine, I mean, we are talking, the numbers haven't been released. We don't know. But it shut her up, and she started a very well-regarded and high-profile victims advocacy group, SOAR, I think it's called. They work on sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff. She wrote a book. She was becoming sort of the spokesperson for the issue of sex trafficking, and especially sex trafficking among the elite, which is something that I think we're all interested in, right? The Epstein files. Remember, it's another thing Trump lied to you about. Remember you guys were all excited. Byron, I know it's your birthday, and I don't want to bring up something that burns your ass. Remember a couple of months ago when Trump had that specialty? Remember? Yeah, that's bullshit, man. Come on. How much bullshit are you guys going to take from this fucking clown show? But anyway, she knows something about that whole world of Epstein stuff, right? And we all want to know. We all deserve to know, because it seems to me that there are a lot of people who have some splaining to do, but we've never officially seen these names. About a month ago, she gets hit by a bus. She lives in Australia, by the way. She's married to a dude. She's been married to him for like 18 years. They're going through a divorce. She says he's abusive. Okay. She's got a couple of kids. Again, they live down there in Australia, and they live well. Again, we're not talking about a girl's got to wait tables. She got a huge settlement from the royal fucking family. So security, as far as financial security, you know, she's okay for the rest of her life. She gets hit by a bus. And she does an Instagram video about a month ago. Remember the picture of her in the hospital? She had all these bruises, and she said she's got days to live, that she's going into renal failure. Okay, well, she lived. She didn't die. She was released from the hospital. So I don't know what that was all about. But Thursday or Friday here in this part of the world, she killed herself. Virginia Joffrey committed suicide, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I want to go through some things here that I thought were interesting. First, let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein and his suicide. Okay. So Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide on August 9th, 2019. Or I'm sorry, August 10th, right? On August 9th, 2019, one day before Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, the first batch of documents from Virginia Joffrey's suit were released to the public on August 9th, further implicating Epstein, Maxwell, and a number of their associates. The following day, Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan prison cell. I mean, those are facts. facts is that one of the most explosive documents connected to the Epstein trial was released on the 9th, and the next day he died of suicide. It was released through Virginia Joffrey's attorney. So what does that mean? That means that these attorneys are saying, hey, this girl here is saying all of this stuff. She's naming names. Now, it's only just the word of one random girl, unless somebody else can corroborate it. And at the time that these documents were released to the public, Jeffrey Epstein, lo and behold, he was in federal custody. He had a charge. So you better believe that the investigators would have come to him after these documents came out and said, you want to make a deal now? All right, so now she needs somebody to back up what she's saying is true. You're already going to jail for a long time, but you can now help us. That never happened because he killed himself, which is like, what? So now when she's already let it out, right? She's like, if he wasn't in custody, it would have been a different thing. But he was in custody looking for anything that he can deal with, and he would have been able to deal. He would have been able to make the deal of his life if he just simply said, yes, okay, I'm going to corroborate that, blah, blah, blah. But that never happened. He was never given the chance to make a deal because he died first, which is such a weird coincidence. All right, so that's the thing that I have never been able to get past in the Jeffrey Epstein thing. You talk about all the weird stuff you want. No, that's the thing. That's the thing that we need to drill down on. How it is that he managed to kill himself in a cell that was probably, they say it was built so that, you couldn't kill yourself. How that was allowed to go on, coincidentally, like within 20 hours of this document being released. Okay, so now let's learn about Virginia Joffrey herself. Because I don't know that I didn't know a lot of this stuff. I didn't know a lot of this stuff until I watched this documentary about Ghislaine Maxwell, where it was explained. But I don't know how many people understand this. Virginia Joffrey wasn't just some suburban cheerleader who got caught up in said. Virginia Joffrey had a horrible, horrible life. She was a street person. She was a runaway. She was sexually abused at the age of 12 and turned into a prostitute at 13. Virginia Joffrey has a background that would explain, why as a grown-up woman she might be traumatized and she might be willing to kill herself. Okay, so the idea that she killed herself, when you understand who she is and what she's been through, it's not all that crazy. But when you combine it with all of the other things in this Epstein situation, you have to look at it and go, wait. So let's go through a little bit of her background and who she was and what led to her killing herself as a 41, I think 41. I don't know. I'll find out the exact age. It's been widely reported that Virginia came from a troubled home. And that from the age of 7 was molested by close family friends. She said, I was just so mentally scared already at such a young age, and I ran away from all of that, she said in a BBC interview in 2019. Joffrey told the Miami Herald that she went from being in an abusive situation at home to being a runaway to living in foster homes. She lived on the streets at the age of 14. Where she says she was found, where she said she found only hunger and pain and more sexual abuse. Later, she was abused by a 65-year-old sex trafficker, Ron Eppinger, in Miami. Eppinger reportedly ran a front business for international sex trafficking known as a modeling agency, Perfect 10. He was raided by the FBI and later pled guilty to the charges of alien smuggling for prostitution, interstate travel for prostitution, and money laundering. After that, at the age of 14, Joffrey reunited with her father. She lived with a 65-year-old sex trafficker at 13 years old, and then at 14, returned to her father, who she ran away with because she was systematically abused by family friends her whole life at 7. In the mid-2000s, all right, wait, it goes on here. At the age of 14, Joffrey reunited with her father and returned to live with him. Her father worked as a maintenance manager at the Mar-a-Lago property owned by Donald Trump and also helped Joffrey obtain a job at Mar-a-Lago. She attended Royal Palm Beach High School. In the mid-2000s, Virginia Joffrey met Ghislaine Maxwell when working as a spa attendant at Mar-a-Lago. She was spotted while reading a book about massage therapy. Maxwell, a British socialite and the daughter of the late media tycoon Robert Maxwell, approached Joffrey, noted the book on massage that she was reading, and inquired about her interest in massage. She then offered her a potential job working for Epstein as a traveling masseuse. I mean, this is all, if you're a kid, these rich people, you've been through hell. She's trying to turn her life around. I mean, think about what she went through before 14. Running away, lived with a sex trafficker, was on the street, finally came home to her father, was in a high school, was trying to get her shit together. She gets a job at the Mar-a-Lago. Ooh, fancy. Ooh, you're mixing with a better breed of people now, girl. You better behave yourself. And what happens? She meets Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. All right. It says here, Ghislaine Maxwell was a socialite, blah, blah, blah. She said that she offered her a job as Epstein's masseuse. When Joffrey arrived at Epstein's Palm Beach home, she says she was naked, lying down, and Maxwell told her how to massage him. All right, so she comes over to the house, and Epstein is laying on a massage table, and Ghislaine Maxwell is standing there naked. She's like, come on, I'm going to teach you how to massage him. When Joffrey arrived at Epstein's Palm Beach home, she says he was naked, lying down, and Maxwell was also naked. She then told her how to massage him. They seemed like nice people, so I trusted them. And I told them I had a really hard time in my life up until then. I told them that I'd been a runaway, that I'd been sexually abused and physically abused. That was the worst thing that I could have told these people, because now they knew how vulnerable I was. Joffrey stated that after Maxwell introduced her to Jeffrey Epstein, the two quickly began grooming her to provide sexual services to Epstein's friends, under the guise that she was to be trained as a professional massage therapist. Okay. So that's her background. I didn't realize that her background was so, well, for lack of any other words, troubled. She was a fucked up kid, man. That is a fucked up kid. I am sorry. I don't know that there is all of that much conspiracy to this anymore. I don't know what killing her. At this point, she has talked about everything. She's done all the interviews. She doesn't have any tape. She doesn't have anything else to release. All she can do is be a constant reminder of this thing that happened. There's no reason for her to be taken out. I mean, unless there is, and if you go on the Reddits and the QAnons, I'm sure they'll tell you all kinds of reasons with absolutely no factual standing, but I don't know. I think she was an incredibly, look. The accident from a month ago where she went on Instagram and said that she'd be dead in 4 days. Okay, that was incredibly overdramatic. That accident, as it turns out, and I have the details now, she was a passenger in a car being driven by a 65-year-old woman who was a friend of hers who was taking her to some appointment. She was a passenger in the back seat, the way rich people travel, She was a passenger in the back seat when this car was clipped by a bus, a city bus. City bus pulled out and clipped this car. They were moving at like 20 miles an hour. There was damage to the car. Nobody was injured. Nobody was injured. Police report was taken and Virginia Joffrey's name was added to the police report, which is why it's so confusing now that she was in a hospital claiming that she had been in a horrible accident and that she was going to die. Even the woman who was driving and the bus driver who hit them are like, yeah, we're not sure what that's all about. We don't know. So I don't think that Virginia Joffrey was right. I don't think that she was okay. I think that there was a lot of stuff going on there. And how could there not be after learning all of the shit that she has gone through as a human? Human beings are only so tough. Human beings are fragile. You're 7 years old, you're getting routinely molested. It's just, what the fuck did I do that for? Why? My dumb fat finger made a $sign thing. All right, so there you have it. All right, I don't think there's any great conspiracy. I think that the overarching story happened again in 2019 when Epstein killed himself. That was when we were going to find shit out, okay? He was ground zero. He had the information. This Virginia Joffrey, Prince Andrew, that's been settled now for a couple of years. She's a sad person who lived an absolutely horrible life, and now she's gone. I don't think it's any more than that. And again, I say this as somebody who suffers from depression, who completely understands how easy you can go in 24 hours from being like totally okay to being like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. I'm out. One of the great things about being a human being is that if I so choose, I can end this whole ride. We can all end this whole ride if we so choose. Now, hopefully we don't get to that point. And hopefully before you even start thinking of such things, you find somebody to talk to and acquire the tools to handle those dark thoughts. That's what I've done. I've got great tools. I don't know how to handle it. But maybe she didn't. And maybe her trauma and her life was just too much. It was just too much. She says her husband of 18 years, there was a restraining order taken out. That's another piece from her, personal life going on. A very ugly divorce. Very ugly. She says that he is physically abusive and sexually abusive. He says he's not. Anyway, terrible story. Virginia Joffrey, the Epstein employee and the Prince Andrew accuser, she died over the weekend. And, a lot of people are going a little bit crazy about whatever. But hey, all right, let's end the show today with this. Let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, rock and roll. All right, so we got a new list. We got a new bunch of people who are going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's see here. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Hey. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This whole time I've been doing the show, I didn't have it plugged in. Oh, my God. We just almost lost everything, but we're good. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their inductees for this year's class. I love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I will warn you people, stop it with your, I just want to be outraged. Knock it off. It's mislabeled, okay? Can we just all operate under the assumption moving forward that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland is misnamed, okay? It is the Museum of Popular American Music. That's what it is. They committed to the rock and roll thing at a time when it seemed like rock and roll was indestructible, and at a time when they weren't giving hip hop and dance music and country and all of that shit its rightful due. Well, we don't have to stay with the short-sighted decisions of men in the 1980s. That's when that thing was built. No, it has become, over the years, the Museum of Popular Music in America. Genre be damned. It's just if you're an important musical artist to the people here in America. That's what not in America. You don't have to be from America. It's just, this is what we, American popular culture, have decided are the baddies, the bangers, the eternals, if you will. So that's what it is. All right, so this year's class, let's talk about who's going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, right? So first and foremost, there's a couple of different categories. So there's like actual people who are going in as bands, and then there's like legends, and then there's like innovators, and then there's the Ahmet Ertegun Award. Okay, so let's go through the 2005 inductees. First and foremost, we're going to play some music. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Yeah! Bad Company, ladies and gentlemen. Bad freaking Company. Come on. Just going to track through some of this. Come on. Hey, yeah. Can we just talk about Paul fucking Rogers? One of the greatest voices in the history of rock and roll. Bad Company finally goes in. Long overdue. All right. Bad Company belongs in anything called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Okay, so now who else is going in 2025? How about this guy? This guy's got like one hit. All right, let's not. You got one fucking song, dude? Chubby Checker goes in to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My first question is, what were the reasons you haven't gone in until now? You're like the last of the original 1950s guys. If you haven't been in by now, I don't think you belong in. I don't give a shit how important your song was. You don't get in for one fucking song, man. I'm sorry. That's just not how we do things here in the Museum of Popular Music. All right, there you go. Chubby Checker, he's going in. All right, here's another one going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in this year's class. Got some issues with this dude as well. Here we go. Here, let's do this. Here we go. Let's see, what is this? All right. Oh man, so all right, Joe Cocker. All right, Joe Cocker, a little help from my friends. He didn't even write that song. Did Joe Cocker even write anything, or is he just an interpreter of other people's music? Because I don't think that means you don't get to go into the Hall of Fame. If you are a great performer of song, I don't care who wrote it, if your interpretation is incredible, then good for you. But Joe Cocker, let's see. What else do we got? Woman to Woman, Jealous Kind, Black Eyed Blues. I think it's Cry Me or You're So... Okay. I mean, Museum of Popular Music in America, probably. You're so beautiful. All right, that's it. You Are So Beautiful. That's a big song, but I just don't think that he belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. Joe Cocker, I don't put you up in that category. All right, next in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for this year. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously. Cyndi Lauper. I mean, look, I'm a Gen X kid. Cyndi Lauper was incredibly big in the 80s. She didn't really carry through the 90s or the 2000s. I will tell you this. This is an all-time song. Cyndi Lauper, she disposable. I don't know. This is an all-time great song. Not her song. She didn't write it. It was actually written and performed first by a band called the Hooters. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hooters. They had a hit called And We Dance Like a Wave. The Hooters were a great 80s band that never really made it really big, but they had some songwriters, and they wrote this song, Time After Time. Cyndi Lauper had a massive hit with it, but their version is even better.
Second-hand unwind. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time.
I mean, okay, Cyndi goes in. I'm good with Cyndi going in. All right, next, bands invited into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the year 2025. Again, folks, I'm asking you to remember that this is the Museum of Popular Music in America.
1, 2, 3, My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
You better goddamn well believe that I'm all about putting Outkast. Outkast was one of the most interesting, entertaining, and important duos of the 2000s, the early 2000s, whatever. And before that, remember this one? This was when I first recognized Outkast.
Yeah, this one right here goes out to all the babies, mamas.
Mama's Miss Jackson.
Baby mama's mama. Yeah, go like this. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
Outcast. I love Outcast. All right, Outcast is going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame / Museum of Popular Music for the class of 2025. All right, how about this one? Nope. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted in the class of 2025 from the grunge category, Soundgarden.
In my eyes.
Can I just tell you? This is just realizing it now. This is in this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class, the class of 2025. Two of my top 5 rock and roll voices of all time. Chris Cornell right here, Soundgarden. Chris Cornell could sing, man. And Paul Rogers from Bad Company, The Voice. Paul Rogers' nickname is literally The Voice. Paul The Voice Rogers. Let's listen here to Chris Cornell.
Indisposed, in disguises no one knows. Hides the face, lies the snake.
Yeah! Spoon Man! Woo! All right! You know what? Soundgarden. They're in. Fuck yeah. I'm Gen X. You think I'm not going to go all in on having Soundgarden be a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Come on now. This next one is controversial. This next one, oh, hold on, that's wrong. All right. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, class of 2025, the White Stripes. I mean, I love me some White Stripes. My question is this, and I don't even have an answer to it. Is Jack White already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for all of the stuff that he did after the White Stripes? Because Jack White has been one of the most prodigious creators of interesting music that is at least rock and roll adjacent. He dabbles in country and does all of that stuff. But I think Jack White is a true legend of our time, a true artist, a true, I put Jack White in the category with people like Bowie, people like that, Elton John. I mean, he's a legend. And I wonder, is he already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't know. Anyway, do you put the White Stripes in? I mean, a little something for Meg, right? The White Stripes were Jack and Meg, a little something for her. I'm okay with it. I mean, two people in this band. A chick on the drums and Jack White with a guitar screaming in the microphone. 2 people. That's incredible. That is incredible. All right, so I'm good with the White Stripes going in. I'm good with Soundgarden going in. I'm good with Outkast going in. I guess I'm okay with Cyndi Lauper going in. I don't think Joe Cocker should go in at this point. I don't think Chubby Checker should go in at this point. But I certainly do welcome Bad Company into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right, there you go. What else do we have here? Musical Influence Awards. Oh, okay. All right. This is interesting. I didn't think I was going to mention these, but okay, look at this, because there are 2. Here you go. Musical Influence Award. Warren Zevon's going in. Warren Zevon is getting invited into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the Musical Influence Award. That's pretty cool. All right, that's good for him. He saw Werewolf. Drinking a pina colada at Trader Fix. His hair was perfect. I love Warren. Lawyers, guns, and money. Warren Zevon. Very cool. Influence Award. Who else is going in alongside Warren Zevon in this year's Influence Award?
Hey, yeah, I want to shoot, baby. Shoot.
Salt and pepper.
No, baby. No, not you. You, the bow-legged one. Yeah. What's your name? Damn, baby. That sounds sexy. Here I go. Here I go. Here I go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they belong. And of course, without question, Salt and Pepper, very cool. Salt and Pepper go in the Musical Influence Award. There'd be no TLC without any Salt and Pepper. All right, let's see. Musical Excellence Award, Tom Bell. I don't know who that is, but I hear he's excellent. Nicky Hopkins, again, don't know who he is. Hear he's excellent. And the last one going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Musical Excellence Award, Carol K. Carol fucking K. Not Carol King, not Carol Burnett, not Carol. Who's Laka's wife? She had a fun name too, Carol something. No. We're talking about Carol Kane. Carol Kane was a member of the Wrecking Crew. Carol Kane was, I don't think she was the only female member of the Wrecking Crew, but she was certainly the most noted. The Wrecking Crew was, of course, the Hollywood. Here, let me see some of her licks. So you've heard her on everything. The Wrecking Crew was the Hollywood studio band of choice for every big album from 1958 through 1972. Anything recorded in that period that was done in one of the big studios was the background music is the Wrecking Crew. And Carol Kay was one of the guitar players. All right, let me see if there's any examples of where you may have heard her guitar work. All right, so here we go. Here are some of the hits. Wrecking Crew's greatest hits. Here. Well, okay, let's just start. Moon River. All right. How about this? Carol Kay playing guitar.
See the way he walks down the street. Watch the way he shuffles his feet. Hi-ho, his head up high when he goes walking by.
All right, he's a rebel.
Let me tell you about a place.
Carol Kay playing guitar.
I met him on a Monday and my heart was filled. Two girls for every.
All songs Carol Kay is playing guitar on.
The night we met, round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around.
You never close your eyes.
All right, so anybody that wants to argue that the great Carol Kay, the anonymous female lead guitar player in an era where it was like, wow, chicks can play guitar. I mean, that's fixed it. Come on. Hold on. Oh my God. Gotta fix my eagle. I mean, come on. You had to go up to 1979, 1980. to see Nancy. Was it Nancy or Ann? It's Ann Wilson, right? The guitar player. To see her like, and people were like, chicks can play guitar. It's like, no, dude. Carol Kay has been playing fucking hit guitar riffs for like 30 years. Carol Kay goes in. Barney asked the important question, is there a Beyonce without Salt and Pepper? I don't think so. I don't think so. Salt and Pepper, I mean, hip-hop music, man, there weren't a lot of women being allowed to play. You had to, when you were allowed to play, you had to have hits, you know, and the floodgates opened because they realized, oh, chicks can do this too. But in the early days when Salt and Pepper were coming up, I mean, you think that there's misogynistic attitudes in just regular straight world, the hip-hop world of like the late 80s and 90s, man, come on, that was all like gangsta dudes, and you had Salt and Pepper up here doing dance music. They were great. I like Salt and Pepper. Push It, come on, man, that's, you admit it, what, you hadn't heard that riff in so long. In the minute we went into push it, come on. Give me the horn. I like the horn or the keyboard. Nope, that ain't it. They're just great. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I do want to remind you that it is Pledge Week. If you enjoy this kind of talk radio, real normal talk radio. I'm not normal. I realize I'm not normal. Somebody pointed that out to me. Like, dude, you're like not normal. You like scream into a camera. I'm like, yeah, I know. That person who pointed it out to me was my son. But okay. Tip the show if you can. It's Pledge Week. We need to raise $50 every show. We need to see if we can get that $50 today. The big tipper of today's show will be tomorrow's executive producer, and we will move on. Tomorrow, I need to remind you, trash trivia out there at the back 9, 4060 Beltline Road. We're going to be out there starting at, I get out there about 7. We kick off the games about 7:30. Excuse me. Kick off the games about 7:30, and 2 categories or 2 rounds of trivia. 4 categories per round. Got to write those categories now. Got to break down the categories. That's tomorrow at the back 9. Come one, come all. Once again, Pledge Week. All right, guys, that's it. I love you. I got to go. It's been a 3-hour show. You're the best. I'm the worst. Have a good day.